Hello and welcome to the Invincible podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a show where friends get to talk all things Invincible, a comic book by Robert Kirkman, Corey Walker, and Ryan Ottley. On today's episode, we're going to be talking all about Oliver Grayson in another character discussion. We've got some news items to cover, and maybe towards the end of the episode, if we have time, we'll talk about some other stuff we've been doing lately. Joining me, as always, is TJ.
Oh, hello, it's TJ.
And Bill.
Hi, oh, it's Bill.
How are you guys doing?
I'm all right.
I'm all right.
As you said.
No,
None of this.
None of this.
People are going to think that their mic is fucking up.
Go on.
It's going to be your fault. You said that afterwards we would talk about things that we're like up to. But I want to talk about something non-Invincible related right now.
Show and tell. Here we go.
Right fucking now.
TJ's got something in his pocket.
I can't wait. Because I've been wanting to talk about it.
Okay.
But I figured we'd save it for the podcast.
All right, but we've definitely got more at the end to talk about.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yes.
If you're not fucking watching Lost in Space on Netflix, get your fucking life together.
You are swearing like Bill Hake right now.
And Bill, you're watching it, aren't you?
Me, Liz, and Riker determined that it is our show because it's family friendly.
Is it?
We haven't really watched I think we watched the first 3 episodes, which the first one is like crazy.
The first episode will draw you in. Just watch the first episode if you're not interested.
If you want to know what it's like to be encased in ice while you're alive.
Don't like fucking show everybody like.
So yeah, Lost in Space. There's something.
Lost in Space is. What's weird about it is I didn't even know it existed.
I haven't heard
that it was a thing.
much about it.
I didn't even know it was. I knew
it was coming out, but then all of a sudden I haven't heard much.
I was watching TV and I saw a commercial for it, and as the commercial was playing, I was like, "This looks pretty good. I'll probably give it a shot." I'm not really into like outer space sci-fi, really at all. I was like, "Oh, I'll check it out because it looks good." And then I was like, "I wonder when it comes out." And it said now streaming. I was like, "Oh shit!" So I just turned it on. Dude, the first episode.
So is it a Netflix show?
Yeah.
And it's all on there. How many episodes?
10.
10.
And just so everyone is aware, it is a complete reimagining. Like it's nothing.
It's the
like
same in name only.
Yeah.
So
the Robinsons are Lost in Space.
Okay. Yeah.
But everything, even characters.
I obviously haven't watched it. I will.
Awesome.
I'll give it a shot.
Dr. Smith.
Awesome.
Quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. It's crazy.
Very good show.
Everything.
So did you finish it, TJ?
Yes.
And so it's so beginning to end. You're saying you're. It's not just like it started off awesome. You can fully say it's
all the way through.
Awesome show. Cool.
We left off where
that means it's even more likely
that they got the Land Rover thing going. That's it.
You just said first 3 episodes.
They got the Land Rover going. That's it.
So I'll watch it. That sounds cool. Like I said, we are the Invincible podcast. We are a bi-weekly podcast that talks all things Invincible. You can email us if you want to be part of the conversation at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube. If you listen to us on iTunes, we appreciate iTunes reviews. We currently have 19 reviews.
So you're saying the next person that reviews us will be our 20th review?
Yeah, that's right. And we'll read them on the air. So whoever it's going to be, we need our 20th review. And that helps us out.
Our 20th.
So we're talking about Oliver today. What's our next episode?
Oh, we were going to talk about that before we started recording.
We didn't. Let's talk about it now. Be a part of Invincible Podcast behind the scenes.
Well, I'm going to pull up the schedule that we have here, and let's see. It looks like the next one we have is actually Capes. We were going to talk about Capes, so we've been kind of alternating and trying to spread out all the Invincible tie-in comics and trade paperbacks and everything.
It's about damn time we talk about Capes.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because we try to do things in a somewhat of an order, and here we are. We're going to be doing Capes, where we get introduced to all these characters that make an appearance in almost everything, and it's their kind of origin, and we haven't talked about them yet.
We'll think of it as a prequel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Kid Thor, Knockout.
Honestly, this is probably better, having some connection to the characters.
Yeah.
Because then you could be like, because Bill, like, you guys know who Kid Thor and Knockout are, and Bolt, this guy on the cover here, and So you're going to go into it with a little bit of like, oh, like TJ said, it's going to be almost like a prequel. So I think, next episode in 2 weeks, we're going to be talking all about Capes.
Capes is only like 3 or 4 issues, right?
Yeah, we'll talk more about it on that episode, but I'm pretty sure it was 3 issues, and then they did a 4th issue in the back of, split up in the back of the issues of Invincible to kind of conclude the story that happened.
But they're all included in the volume.
But they're all included in volume 1 of Capes, Punching the Clock. And then to give everybody else a little sneak peek further, the episode after that, we're going to be doing Super Fight
Round 2.
Volume 2.
Round 2. Because it's a fight.
Round 2.
Round 2.
Perfect. Yeah. There we go. And if, like I said, we are a bi-monthly podcast, but if that isn't enough.
No, we're not. Bi-weekly. Bi-monthly would mean every other month.
Yeah, we're not a bi-monthly podcast. We're a bi-weekly podcast. But if that wasn't enough, because bi-monthly is certainly not enough, but if bi-weekly isn't enough, you can check us out on the Oblivion Song podcast.
No, the Oblivion Song podcast.
Do you have to yell "the" every time?
It's a thing.
Does. It's a thing that TJ does.
You should bold "the" on everything you write. Every time you write the Oblivion Song podcast.
By the way, TJ, you still have to change the Oblivion Song podcast's picture on iTunes.
It automatically changes on.
It does.
SoundCloud.
Sometimes it takes a little bit.
Okay, it's been a while.
Shika! That was me cutting you down.
TJ, when does that? When does the Oblivion Song podcast post?
That is every Friday after You're like mouthing the words as I'm talking.
Am I?
Yeah. It's every Friday after a new issue of Oblivion Song comes out. So if a new issue of Oblivion Song came out on Wednesday, you can expect a new episode of the Oblivion Song podcast to release that Friday. 1 episode
a month following the newest issue or the latest issues. And right now it seems to be like, every second week of the month so far?
Yeah.
About?
Yeah, because it was the 8th and then it was the 11th.
Mm-hmm. So the next one should be...
Is it the 18th?
I think it was the 11th.
I think the next one is the 11th.
Yeah, I think so too. Cool. That's exciting. That's a really good show. Everybody should check that out too. I
like how you say it's a really good show, but it's us that do the show.
Shh, stop. Nobody knows.
It's great.
Nobody knows. News-wise, TJ, did you get your Mega Box?
I did get my Mega Box. I did indeed.
So all the Adam Eve variant figures have been going out to everybody in their Adam Eve boxes. Which figure did you get?
I got the regular Adam Eve with the cyborg leg.
Yep, because the other version is the
bloody version.
Bloody variant.
That's the regular version. Is the robot leg?
Mm-hmm.
They're both robot legs.
Yeah, they're both robot legs. It's just one.
I thought wasn't there one just Eve?
Yeah, that's the one you could buy in the store.
Okay, that's the regular one.
Yeah.
Right. It's only $25 on the store.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah, so, and actually, Skybound, they do sales
constantly.
all the time. Yeah, they just had one where it was down to like $18 for a figure. Wow. So the other thing that happened is we finally solved the mystery of the fist.
Oh yeah, the compendium.
Yeah.
It's the final compendium.
Yep. Compendium 3. So Ottley, like almost months ago, tweeted out a picture of Invincible's bloodied fist on Twitter.
And we freaked out about it.
Yeah, we freaked out. Obviously. I mean,
As you knew everyone would.
Yeah. I think a lot of it, though, was also Robert Kirkman being like, you're not supposed to reveal that yet. But yeah, so we had our theories. I mean, one of them was that it was the compendium cover. We got our hypes. We got our hopes set and overhyped it a little bit. But, we figured it was probably just going to end up being
It actually is a really cool cover.
It is an awesome cover.
I like how, the black parts of his suit is, the background.
Yep.
And there's,
that matches the other two compendiums.
Yeah.
They do the same
thing. I'll be getting those.
Yeah, they do those too.
I have 1 and 2, not with me, because those are the ones that I lend out to people. And actually, Liz has it. Liz has Compendium 1.
No, Amanda has Compendium.
Well, yeah, but she... you borrowed it and gave it to someone else.
To her, yes.
If someone were to say, I have a comic book you need to read, and I say, I would naturally be like, fucking absolutely, I'm a comic book guy. I do a podcast based on a comic book. Let me have it. And they were to throw down something similar to the first compendium of Invincible, I'd be like, fuck you. Get out of my face. I got shit to do. Like, I got bills to pay.
Mm-hmm. It's not my preferred
It's
way.
so
I
intimidating.
still love the hardcovers more than anything. Like, if it's somebody I know, like Bill, it was super easy for me to give you the compendium, to give to someone else that I don't know. Like, you said she's almost done with it. Have you talked about it at all? Does she like it?
Yeah, what's towards the end? What's like the last quarter, or the last, let's say...
Who has it right
sixth, Amanda.
Who hasn't? Who hasn't?
Who has it?
Who has it?
I want to say Compendium 1 ends with Ultimate Collection Volume 4.
It's Mars.
It's Mars, the Sequids, Alan, Anissa, Dropkick,
all this stuff.
Fight Master.
Yep.
It actually ends with the first issue of Invincible I ever bought.
Stay tuned, because eventually we're going to talk Oliver Grayson.
Yes. But when she reads at the end of every compendium, she should write like a little paragraph of what she thought, and we'll read it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, the only other news, I just wanted to point out that there were full final pages of Ottley's Amazing Spider-Man revealed. Did you see those, TJ?
Yeah. It's weird. It feels like I'm reading Invincible.
It feels like Invincible.
It's like I mean, obviously not so much Spider-Man, but like the people that I don't know, like people in the background that are like looking.
Yeah.
It looks like they're in Invincible's universe.
I mean, that's his style, though.
Exactly.
So,
I know.
love that, though. No, I'm saying that's in a good way. I love
people
that.
did say that, like on Twitter, they'd be like, "Oh, why does that guy look like? Why does J. Jonah Jameson look like Omni-Man?" And he's like, "Well, that's just
how I draw a mustache."
Yeah. So I'm super excited. I can't wait.
I mean, I don't know. That's why I'm so into commissions and why I have so many of them, is because I like that each artist has their own style, and that you can look at something and know that's Jim Lee, that's Ryan Ottley.
That's what I was going to say. Jim Lee has one of the most definitive... Yeah,
and I love that about
just
artists.
like Ryan Ottley. I think that's an important skill to have, because if you want to have like a signature style, you know what I mean? It's I think it's more difficult to have a signature style than it would be to just kind of change constantly. Mm-hmm. You know? Because that's what people fall in love with. Jim Lee's, Catwoman, the profile of hers, all right, moving on.
Are you talking about her backside?
Yes. Yeah. Physically, like her actual back, like shoulder blades and stuff. Go on.
All right, you guys ready to jump into our main discussion?
Certainly. I'm so ready.
So what we did is I split up the Oliver's life. I divided up into basically 4 sections of his life. I split it up into his origin, is the first section. The second section is Kid Omni-Man. The third section is Young Omni-Man. And then the fourth section would be the Coalition and his death. That whole
Young Omni-Man
area.
Being like Kid Omni-Man as a teenager.
That's what he names himself, though.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he literally names himself Kid Omni-Man in one section, and then the next costume he has become Young Omni-Man. So yeah. But yeah, so let's kick it off.
Kick that shit off.
The first issue that Oliver ever appeared in was issue 26. And this was, months after the fight with Mark and Nolan had left the planet, and in a previous issue, Science Dog had showed up to Mark's house.
Issue 25.
Yep, 25, and...
that does come before 26. You're right, TJ. Thank you.
Right before it.
And it ended up being an alien that needed Mark to come to their planet to help them. So anyways, Mark goes to that planet, Thraxa. Thraxa or Thraxia?
I've always called it Thraxa.
Just Thraxa. Yeah, no Ia.
And this bug-like race says that their monarch wants to meet them. Mark goes up to him. It's his dad. That was actually how 25 ended. So 24 was the Science Dog one.
No.
Was that all the same issue? Oh, it probably was, wasn't it?
Same issue.
Yeah. So big moment with Mark and Nolan. But other than everything that happens with that, is that issue ends with Nolan saying that he has one more thing to show him. And he takes him into another room and he says, "Mark, I'd like to show you your brother." And on the floor is young Oliver playing with Andressa, who is Oliver's mother, Nolan's wife, his mate, whoever. And then in the following issues, Nolan explains how he, his DNA was compatible with them, and that he's currently only 3 weeks old, but he looks like he's 1, and that he's still going to live a long time, and he has this purplish blue skin, and what was I going to say?
His lifespan is
yeah. I mean, Mark. I liked how Mark
ages
was
very slow, or very quickly, very rapidly,
up to a certain point, up to adulthood.
Well, the reason why it slows down is because he's half Viltrumite. Right?
Mm-hmm. And Nolan. And there's one thing that always confused me was that Nolan said that the Viltrumites knew he was there and was coming for him, and one look at Oliver and they'd kill him, because this is one of the first times we ever learned that the Viltrumites kill, and he even says that they'll kill anyone with an imperfection. So Oliver would be killed because he has an imperfection. The color of his skin, the fact that he ages quickly, it's a flaw. Even though he'll live hundreds, if not thousands of years, as Nolan says.
Which is ironic because that's what then Thrag does.
That's what Thrag does. Yeah.
But I mean, we even know
it's
now...
It's not ironic.
He hates them. He doesn't like them.
Yeah, we even know now Thrag only did what he did to just get revenge.
Revenge, yeah. He used them as a weapon.
Right.
He created weapons. He didn't create Viltrumites in his eyes.
What do you guys think about the relationship between Drexa...
Andressa
and Nolan? Because when he was on Thraxa, why am I...
Thraxa.
Yeah, you're right.
Why does it sound weird?
Yeah.
It is because you draw attention to
it.
He said later on that he was always in love with his wife, with Mark's mom.
You're right.
So Debbie is at home bawling her eyes out, and he's on Thraxa and he's having a child, but he's in love with her the whole time.
Maybe he was having some sort of crisis.
Yeah.
Because this was, and I think this was several months, is what I assumed. It doesn't
they
state
had to have talked
distinctly.
About it.
I mean, it was probably like a very passionate thing. You know what I mean? Like just emotional. Like it wasn't him thinking. He was in no state.
And I don't think.
Not to jump ahead, but
I don't think
Debbie ends up taking care of Oliver. Yeah. I know that they talk about it.
They mention it briefly. But anyways, back to Thraxa. Nolan says the Viltrumites are coming for him and they'll kill Oliver. Mark says, of course I'm going to protect him. I'm not going to let them kill an innocent baby. Nolan tells Mark to take Andressa and baby Oliver to the caves where Mark is tasked with protecting them. And this is the first time we ever see another Viltrumite other than Nolan and like Mark, obviously, or any other than flashbacks, and it's Lucan.
Yep.
Who makes it right to the end?
Who makes it to the end of the comic? Like that's pretty cool.
Well, you think he dies in this issue?
Is he the one that's holding it in his guts?
He comes back and he's like, "You should have made sure I was dead."
You're right. Yeah.
It's weird to think about things like that. Like when you look at Thrag, his first appearance was in issue 11?
Thrag? No.
Thrag was
much later.
Thrag's first appearance is in a flashback.
No, it's
of
not.
issue. It's either 11 or 12. It's either 11 or 12.
It was after Conquest escaped Cecil's containment, cement.
Pull that shit up.
He flew up to the building and walked up, and Thrag was standing there all Freddie Mercury. I remember he looked like he was like arched, and that was the first appearance of Thrag.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that shit up.
You look it up, but I'm gonna keep going. So Lucan is there, and he shows up, and he's like taken aback by the fact that not only is Mark there, a Viltrumite, but he's like, Nolan like sired 2 children, and he couldn't believe it because, as we know, the Viltrumites are nearly extinct, and here's a guy who's been able to have 2 kids. And I love how when Mark like attacks him or like punches him in the back of the head and flies away, and Lucan's like, "Come on, man, get your head in the game. It's like Lucan is like green, you know what I mean? Like he's not very good at this yet. And I really like this issue for several reasons, but one thing, I really liked this chase scene that happened because Lucan is gaining on Mark, and this is way before he's powerful. Like, remember, he had to work out after this. This was the fight that led to him working out, and he's flying away with Andressa and Oliver, and Andressa's looking behind, like he's gaining, he's catching up, and Mark tells him, he's like, "I'm sorry, he's gonna catch me. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you guys." Like, he's basically apologizing because they're gonna kill him or kill them. But Nolan shows up, saves the day, and TJ, you have an answer?
Yes, issue 11. I was right. First appearance, issue 11, because it was in a flashback. Last appearance, Invincible 140.
I would find issue 11.
I would like
to
find that issue. I don't have Volume 1 or Compendium 1 or issue 11 handy. I keep lending out my Invincible comics. We'll look it up. Wait, issue 11?
Issue 11 is where he says, I think it's time you find out where you really come from. And then he does the whole, isn't it the whole flashback?
I don't think I'm going to open up this.
I think that's issue 11.
I'm going to open up this.
You're clearly opening something. I can hear it.
Yeah, this issue 11 from Serbia. So we're not going to be able to read anything because it's in Serbian. Do they speak Serbian in Serbia?
I think they speak,
or they speak Russian. Probably speak Russian. All right.
Ryan, if you could please
open this slower.
Thank you.
It's in black and white. That's cool.
How ironic is it that you have this issue here?
No, I haven't opened it. It is really ironic that I have this issue in Serbian. I guarantee they just assume it's somebody in the background.
I don't think so.
Which I
think he talks to somebody and...
No, I don't think he's in this issue.
I bet he is.
Oh, look at that. That guy is going to be in capes. Yeah, TJ, I disagree.
Everybody in there, there's so many people with...
I don't think he's in there. I think
Google
that's
got it wrong?
Yeah, I think Google got it wrong.
Yeah, I think they just assume because
does Google have an Invincible podcast?
Burn.
All right.
No, but I do, so I must be right.
TJ, you keep looking at that, but I'm going to continue on.
Well, if he says the word thrag, I'm not going to be able to see it.
He doesn't. I swear he doesn't. Back to the fight on Thraxa. After the fight, the Viltrumites take Nolan, and Mark is tasked with protecting Earth and all that. But he goes back to Andressa, apologizes, says that they've taken him, and then in the next issue, this is now issue 30. What was it? It was. I think Mark has spent over a month helping to rebuild Thraxa after the fight. Mm-hmm. I forgot he had been there that long.
He started dressing.
Yeah, he was dressing in their alien clothes. This is a reoccurring theme that I didn't know started back then, of Mark just disappearing for long periods of time, all the way back to issue 30. Andressa encourages Mark to take Oliver, telling him that he has to leave because he's been there.
Old.
She's old at this point.
She's getting old, yeah.
She looks old, and she tells him that, like, I'm going to die soon. At this point, Oliver is like a toddler. He looks like he's, he's maybe 3. Three's not a toddler, is it?
3's a toddler.
Is 3 a toddler?
Yeah.
I don't know these things.
Yeah.
You do.
It's a toddler.
Okay, so Oliver is a toddler. He's saying things like brother and stuff, and Andressa is dying. She says you have to take him with you. Mark shows up at the house. Debbie walks in. Mark's standing there in alien clothes, and then Oliver walks around the corner, and she freaks out, and she's like, "What is that?" Mark quickly explains.
Baby.
Yeah, Mark quickly explains everything about how, Dad, this is my brother. She's like, did he just call you brother? That is when he mentions Dad, had a wife. He moved on, and she has a sad moment where she says, so this woman, why doesn't she have the child? Why is he here? Why did you bring it to me, Mark? And she, Mark explains how she had a really short lifespan, and I don't want to say that he convinces Debbie to take him, because what happens is he has to leave. He leaves her with Oliver, and then he goes off to do things. He goes to talk to Cecil, who knows everything that's going on, and he tells Mark that they're going to hook her up with birth certificates, adoption papers, and we're going to get this holographic thing to match his skin to cover it up. And then a couple issues later, Debbie even says, like, oh yeah, I talked with Cecil, we're going to get that holographic thing to match his skin. That never happens. That was kind of odd. I mean, I'm sure it was one of those things that they threw in there. It's like, yeah, maybe we'll do this, and then they just decided not to, because it wasn't necessary.
It also would have been very Nightcrawler-ish.
Does he cover his skin? I mean, he uses makeup, right?
Well, maybe I'm thinking of X-Men Evolution, which was a great cartoon.
Did they do that in that?
He had a watch, and he just turned it, and it changed his skin.
Yeah, because they were in school, right?
Yep. Such a good show.
So anyways, Mark goes back to Debbie. She agrees to take care of Oliver. Of course, she fell in love with him. And that's when Mark goes on to Africa. So we know where this is going. Well, Mark is in Africa. He gets a phone call.
And flies back.
And Angstrom levy.
How fast can you get to your house? Is that what he says? How fast
Something
can you
like
get
that.
home?
Yeah.
Mark barges in the door. There's Angstrom Levy, crying Debbie, confused baby Oliver. Mark and Angstrom fight. Angstrom brings up a really interesting point that in all the dimensions he's been to, he's never come across Oliver. Why are you smiling, TJ?
Because that's something I want to bring up later.
Interesting.
In my piece. As Kid Omni-Man.
And I always thought that was interesting. Mark goes on to kill, in quotes, Angstrom. Jumping ahead to issue 35, Oliver is starting to say a few more words. Cecil had promised that a tutor would come. A tutor has shown up. Her name is April. And she arrives to the house saying that she knows everything that's going on, that she's aware of who Nolan was. She's aware of what Oliver is and everything that's happened to their family. And she says that Debbie's going to have to come up with a name for the birth certificates and everything like that. Even though traditionally, like Nolan tells Mark, that traditionally they name themselves because they age so fast that they would normally just name themselves, which is why he didn't have a name.
The Thraxans?
Yeah.
Thraxians? Thraxians?
I don't know.
Thraxans.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right. Thraxians
It's gotta be,
sounds
though.
better.
Fractions?
No,
Sounds like fractions.
Yeah, it does sound like fractions.
But
Anyways.
yeah, so she named him Oliver after her father. Then the final issue that I consider to be Oliver's origin is issue 38, where we check in on him. He is with April, and he's learning super fast. He's learning like really advanced math. It's like 7th grade math, and he still looks like he's like 5 years old or something. And Debbie's telling him like, oh, you got to work hard and do good at it or whatever. And he says, I love you, Mommy Debbie. And then that's it. And that's all I consider to be Oliver's origin.
Now, Oliver mentions how because the Thraxians, with the way that their race is, remember everything.
Yeah, they have full recollection of everything. You're right.
From the
That's
minute
your point.
that they're born, from the minute that they die. Like, so if they're 60 years old, they would remember what it was like to be 1 day old.
Yeah. Yeah, they remember, and that comes up later. It comes up. I want to say it comes up a couple times.
It does come up. It comes up twice for me, and I think at least once for you, Bill. And
yeah, I have.
Young
I took notes on that.
TJ, you're gonna take us a little bit through Kid Omni-Man's story.
Yeah. So at this point, Mark is away at college a lot. He's not really home that often, but he comes home and he talks to Debbie, and Debbie pretty much tells him, it's been a little while since you've seen Oliver. He's older now. Mark goes out back and kind of is playing catch with him.
And this is the first time we see him, and he is significantly older.
And flying.
Well,
he is now. They're playing catch, and Mark overthrows the ball, and Oliver jumps up and catches it and stays in midair, and basically says he got his powers before but wanted to wait to surprise him. He didn't tell Debbie. He goes back inside, and Debbie's not even sees him. Debbie sees Oliver flying and was like, oh yeah, well, cool.
Yeah, it's very Debbie of her.
Yeah, which is the same reaction that they got when Mark got his powers. Mm-hmm. Nolan was.
It's almost. I almost feel like she probably would have expected it even more coming from a purple kid.
You know what's weird? Is I'm starting to feel, recapping all of this, how I feel about Tara. Like, this is when Oliver gets most of his personality. Like, this is from this point on.
TJ's section of this Kid Omni-Man is like very much Oliver. Like, this is where he
even as an adult, he still has all of these quirks and stuff like that.
Kid Omni-Man, like Oliver at this age, at the Kid Omni-Man stage,
your favorite,
was one of my top favorite.
Fun fact: we've done three character analysis episodes so far on this podcast. The first one, Rex Blode. The second one, Angstrom Levy. The third one, Oliver Grayson.
They all died.
Not only that,
they're all my favorites.
they're all three of TJ's favorite characters.
Yeah, they are.
Hey,
that's very.
We let the people decide.
We did let the people decide. We put
which was bullshit, because how close
Dinosaurs was so close, Bill. I'm sorry.
He was right there. And you know what? I voted for him.
Yeah.
Even after you're like, oh, it's looking like it might be Oliver. I was like, no, I'm voting Dinosaurs.
I voted Monster Girl.
Really? I knew you would. Who was the other one?
Battle Beast.
Okay, so
I'm surprised Monster Girl was last or something.
I voted for Oliver. But the Oblivion Song podcast voted for Battle Beast.
Oh.
I wanted to be fair. I didn't want to be an asshole.
You wanted to be fair.
I wanted to be fair.
Right.
So I was fair.
Yeah.
Battle Beast would be a cool one, though.
It'd be a quick one. I think so would Dinosaurus.
Yeah. Dinosaurus would be quick, but I feel like there'd be a lot to talk about.
There's a lot of other, stories.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're talking. Mark kind of makes a comment about training him, and Debbie's like, absolutely not. You know, he's too young. It's too dangerous. So, yeah, we got the tutor coming back in.
There's a lot of tutor in these early issues, which was cool. She was a cool character. And I don't know if there was I don't remember the point in which she just leaves. We didn't get really any kind of farewell to that character. She just stops being necessary. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying, I don't even think I noticed her not being there, which just goes to show that it's not really necessary.
Yeah, so they keep talking about how his advanced learning, that he's, gone through six grades within a matter of a couple weeks. So there's a time when Mark goes off and he's flying and he runs into.
This was actually
terrible with names.
The first.
No.
Tether Tyrant.
Tether Tyrant. Yeah. Fuck.
Come on, you know it's Tether.
I mean, dang it.
And then
Magmite.
Magmaniac.
I thought it was Magmite.
No, the Magmites are the.
Those are the
things that.
Yeah. Doc Seismic calls them. I'm pretty sure it's Magmaniac. But his name is James, because that's what Tether Tyrant yells when he gets killed.
James,
and then he tells the Tether Tyrant. He tells the. Whatever, the tether
to take control.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Such a good
that?
scene.
And then he blacks out and wakes up and everything's
All right,
destroyed.
Character discussion. Sorry, Oliver. We're doing it on Tether Tyrant. This issue, TJ, fun fact, 47 that you're on is the first
issue,
the first issue I ever bought. Yours was like
42.
2 before.
Look at that cover
42.
and those colors.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, look at the lighting on his knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
Who did the coloring? It had to have been.
I think this was the beginning of FCO.
Yeah, it's FCO. It definitely is.
Invincible is fighting them, and Oliver kind of followed him and is watching from a distance, but then decides to run in, and he throws his first punch to Magmaniac, if that is his real name, and kind of punches him in the face, and then Invincible very quickly ends the fight, and Oliver's like, so that was good, right? I did good. I wasn't sure if I could do it, but man, this was almost easy. So can I be your partner now? And Invincible says, we'll talk about this later.
Before that fight happens, because I'm just looking at these pages too, there was a really cool conversation that they had that was told through text boxes, and it was all about what you were saying, TJ. Oliver having complete recollection of everything he's witnessed since the day he was born.
I said that actually.
Well, TJ said that it was in this issue. I think we all kind of said. And then he talks about, I remember the man my father was. He was a kind, caring. I remember the interaction you had when you first arrived. I do not ever recall having a reason to fear him. And then he talks about, even now, the mere mention of his name has made you noticeably uncomfortable. And he's like, which do you think is the real version of our father? Talking about Omni-Man and what he did versus the man that Oliver knew. And that was a really cool discussion and something that I think really builds towards Oliver's character.
He asks, he talks about how Nolan had to have been two separate people. The one that they knew and the one that the world knew.
Yeah.
One of them had to be fake. Mm-hmm. Which one do you think it was? Obviously, we know which one it was, but... so later on...
New issue, right?
New issue, yep.
48?
This was 48. Cecil is at the Grayson home, and he's talking to to Debbie, and he's talking about how he was kind of disappointed that they didn't tell him that he got his powers. And Debbie, she pretty much told him, like, yeah, because I'm a little nervous that you're going to try to recruit him. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, you know, after what your husband did, I think, you know, he's basically saying, after everything I gave to Mark and how I'm funding him and I'm paying for this. And she says, well, I think the work my son does for you more than compensates you for your trouble.
Referring to Mark.
Right. And then he says, well, after what your husband did, I think. And then he gets a phone call. And that is what leads into issue 50 and everything that happens there. Right. So we found in issue 50, Mark gets the realization of who Cecil really is and how he works with villains, and he doesn't take it, you know, very lightly. Mm-hmm. He's pissed off, and one of the things which involves Oliver, as we'll talk about, is he puts him up against the wall and says, if you ever come near Oliver, I'll kill you. If you ever try to recruit my brother, I'll kill you.
And it's a close up on Mark's face, and it's all bloody, and he's choking Cecil, and like this is the first time Mark's ever threatened to kill like a human like this. Like that was
out of rage, out of pure Viltrumite rage.
Mm-hmm. Yep, pretty crazy.
So more of them flying around. So they're flying, and you know, Mark is going pretty fast, and Oliver's trying to keep up with him.
I like how they're barefoot here. This is issue 51 when they're flying around, and Mark has someplace to show him. He's going to take him somewhere.
Yeah, but on the way, they're talking about how, you know, Mark says that he talked to Debbie, their mom, and they decided that Mark is going to train him. Mm. So now he's already super excited, and then come to find out, they're taking him to Art Rosenbaum to get his very first costume. And yeah.
How did we feel about this costume when it was first revealed?
I hated the name.
Oh,
at first I hated the name
because he goes by Kid Omni-Man here.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun. Actually,
I don't think I think the name is intentionally like not supposed to sound right.
Yes,
it's uncomfortable to say. Yes. It's not natural.
Of course, like I like it.
We get why he does it. Like he is not a human. He's like, I want to honor Omni-Man. I want to be Kid Omni-Man. Like.
It's funny when we were talking to one of our best friends, Robert Kirkman. He was talking to us about how Cory Walker named him, and how like the same thing with, not that she was ever a character in the universe, but what was it? It was Lady Omni-Man.
Oh yeah.
That he loves like conflicting names like that. Like he likes names like that. So. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The costume.
I liked the costume. I liked it. I didn't really care. I don't really care for
all the colors. All the colors are just weird. It's very short. It is very like an early Robin kind of thing.
He's purple. His costume is black, yellow, and red.
Yeah.
And it was very strange. But I think that it was intentional to make him look like Robin. He looks like Robin.
Yeah, he has the domino mask.
Yeah, he's showing a lot of leg, which is weird.
I think it's very much him though. It's not from this world. It's mixed match colors. It's very kid, you know what I mean? One thing I want to point out that I recently noticed, and I'm just now picking up on, both this costume and his next costume, he's wearing gloves that are like
goofy gloves.
Kind of like, they have like the frilled hands.
A little similar to another child superhero
that got his costume at Art Rosenbaum's shop.
Wow, Art.
Mm-hmm.
Several years from now.
Kid Invincible.
Kid Invincible. Does he go by Kid Invincible?
Yeah.
Was that what it was? Like, did he say that?
Yeah.
I think he just... Yeah, no, he
says Kid Invincible.
Yeah. So, I thought that was a nice little touch.
Yeah.
And of course, we can't talk about his costume without saying there's the obvious Omni-Man symbol on his chest.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny because they talk about how like Art knew that he wanted to go by Kid Omni-Man before he even made the costume, because Oliver and him had talked about it in the past. Not that Oliver knew that he was making a costume for him, but they did know each other beforehand.
I like how Art says, "Don't look at me. I thought he was going to go by Omni-Boy. This Kid Omni-Man stuff is new to me."
Yeah.
Because Omni-Boy is the name that would probably sound better. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure they kicked that name around. Kirkman and like Corey or Ryan. Like, it's like, should it be Kid Omni-Man? And it's like Omni-Boy sounds way better. But it's like, no, he would want to honor his name. His name is Omni-Man.
Well, that's what Mark says. He pulls him aside and says, Art isn't going to tell you this because he's the only normal person on this planet who doesn't hate Dad. But you can't have Omni-Man in your name. You just can't. And he says, why not? And he says, because everyone on this planet hates him. And Oliver says, but he's my father and I want to honor him. Mm-hmm. If people see me helping them, saving them under his name, won't that start to redeem him? Isn't that something we should be trying to do? Mm-hmm. And Mark kind of looks away and says, maybe.
Yeah.
Kind of, so they talk about it a little bit more, but I mean, that's what he settles on. That's it's his choice. And
I like how Mark said that Oliver's costume was better. Like, Mark never really liked his costume.
Yeah, well, this is where, while he's there, Art gives him the blue and black. Mm-hmm. And he actually likes Kid Omni-Man's better than the blue and black.
Which I liked his blue and black costume
more than blue and black.
I liked it more than Mark liked it.
Oh, yeah.
It's another thing where it's like, I like it now, but I didn't really like it then.
At the time? Yeah.
Even now, I just think it's okay.
I think by the time we got to Conquest, though,
yes,
it was like, yeah.
Put them FCO colors on that shit? Yeah, I mean... All right, so yeah, then they go off and they get in their first fight as Kid Omni-Man and Invincible. And
I think there's the most important part about this is a couple pages ahead, where he meets up with the Mauler twins. This is the pinnacle moment right here.
So there's there's a reason, like, the Mauler twins are taking over a missile silo, and Mark brings Oliver along to help.
Yeah.
And while Mark goes off to stop the missile that was launched, that leaves Kid Omni-Man to stay with the Mauler twins.
Mark says is going to get the missile, and he said, they fired the missile. I'm going after it. Get out of here, Kid Omni-Man. You can't fight these guys alone. Just run. And then the next page is the coolest thing that Oliver has done in the entire series. Right after Invincible says, run, you can't take these guys, he flies right through one of the Mauler twins. Like a bloody, gory
I'm trying to remember. Is this the first time we saw detailed gore?
No, because
no, we see.
What do you mean detailed? Because
holding intestines out of his.
Angstrom Levy got beat to shit.
Yeah, this isn't.
We didn't see his face though. That was in issue 60.
This is definitely the first and only time we see a little boy flying through a person.
Oh no, I agree. But I think this was the first time that it was like, oh shit, this is like.
Even the other Mauler twin in the background was like, oh shit.
Yeah, because like. Omni-Man killing the Guardians. It's very like stylized. There isn't a lot of gore, like very detailed gore. Like this is, it's also like I said, I'm pretty sure this is FCO, but this is like Ottley drawing guts, and something that we'll see more of later down the road. But I want to say the first time we see a lot.
There's
of it.
Intestines wrapped around Oliver's fingers. Mm-hmm. I don't know how he didn't get it on his face or in his mouth. Well, he got a little in his mouth.
So. Again, with the ending of this fight leads to the biggest storyline, or the first big storyline of Oliver, which is he flies right through one of the Mauler twins, and then the other Mauler twin is looking like, oh shit,
I surrender.
And then he goes, I surrender, because he's terrified of him, and he goes, oh, you're gonna make this easy for me, huh? Oliver says that and kills him.
Yeah,
punches his
he surrendered,
jawbone.
and Oliver kills him.
Yeah, like we were just talking about. Oh, it's crazy. There's intestines wrapped around his finger. No, now he has his fist through his brain, and his teeth are going out the back of his head.
His jawbone is coming through the top of his skull.
And everybody else that was there in the fight, the Guardians, you got, Duplicate and Immortal and Darkwing, they're all staring at him in disbelief, like, you just killed that guy. And Oliver's like, don't look at me, like, I didn't mean to kill him, I saved your butts. Like, he didn't even really care. He's like, I didn't kill them on purpose. I didn't murder them. I was only trying to help.
Yeah.
So.
And this is when Cecil shows up, says that, and then Invincible flies in,
freaks out and says, "Stay away from him."
Yeah, because previously this was the threat.
All Cecil was trying to do was be like, "I'll take care of this." Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He was.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I always got the feeling like he was slowly trying to build a relationship with.
Kind of, because he does start by saying, like, you got to understand, people aren't accustomed to seeing someone age do things like that. You're very special. There will be times, like, he is kind of saying, like...
Do you remember when we were doing Guarding the Globe, and we saw such a different Cecil, and we talked about how the reason why Cecil is the way he is in Invincible is because we only see him around Invincible. Mm-hmm. He's trying to build a relationship, but that's not the real Cecil. I feel like we got the real Cecil in Guarding the Globe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
so you know that he had intentions.
I feel like he had different intentions. I think he was trying to, recruit him.
I think that he's afraid of Mark, and he would never do that. I think that he was literally just trying to console a little boy that just flew through a man.
I don't know.
I do.
I think it's a little of both, because I don't think that he's afraid of Invincible at this point.
This is where I started to have bad feelings about Oliver.
This conversation.
Yeah, this conversation where he was like, we need to take care of bad guys like this. Like, you should be happy.
It started because they fly off after that scene, and Invincible screaming at him saying, "You killed those guys." Yeah. And that's what Bill's talking about. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're talking about the morality of it all, and Oliver, at this point, is... Mark does the same thing. He takes care of threats. The Muller twins were a threat and were forever a threat, and he just took care of them. But it also shows that he has a lack of humanity, which...
That's what Mark says. He says the problem is the fact that you don't care
that you've killed them. And he said, "Why should I? How many times have you fought those guys? How many people have they killed since the first time you fought?"
Mm-hmm. Mark says human life is a precious thing.
It's
not.
It's the Batman Joker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, then there's his humanity. He's not human.
Mark is just like...
Oliver's not human.
Mark is just taken aback by the fact that Oliver said human life isn't precious.
Yeah.
Precious, human life isn't precious. Not in general, not everyone.
People risk their lives every day.
Read that, because this is important. This is a child saying this, by the way.
People risk their lives every day. They kill each other. If they don't think their lives are important, why should I? Most of them are utterly insignificant. And then Mark says, "You sound like Dad." And he goes, "So? Would that be so bad? Was he so wrong? Did nothing he said make sense to you at all, even on a small level? Have you ever thought that Dad, our father, was right?" And then Mark stares off and says, "Sometimes." Mm-hmm. That's how the issue ends.
Ooh, that's when we knew, like, oh.
Well, at this
things
point,
were happening.
At this point, I thought the major arc was he's gonna have to stop him.
Yeah, like the cover of that issue was them fighting. Like,
I thought so too.
Yeah, I remember talking back then. Like, we all thought, like, shit's gonna go down between them. He's gonna become a villain, but
he has no humanity in him.
He reminds me so much of, not to keep talking about Batman, but he reminds me so much of Damian Wayne. And when we were reading this, Bill, we were also reading Batman and Robin. And remember when Damian was like starting to go bad?
Yeah.
The issue with like him.
Yeah, with the sword.
Behind Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Batman versus Robin.
Oh, and it wasn't Batman. It was when Dick.
It was Dick Grayson.
As
Batman. He was Batman.
That was good.
It was so good.
That was so good.
So fucking good. Carrying on, Mark is continuously worrying about Oliver after that happened.
They end up like talking a little bit more about it, and Oliver agrees that maybe if you're willing to give these people a chance, if you care about them that much, maybe I'm wrong. So he kind of comes around and around to the idea of actually protecting humans, and they kind of just agreed, not agree to disagree, but Oliver's gonna try.
Well, yeah,
Why does he have to have that ominous look on his face?
He's like, yeah, I assume you're right, but then they hug, and then he looks kind of off.
Dun,
and then it's definitely that kind of moment, because that's how the issue ends.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love this.
Oh, I just this little moment of Mark and Eve waking up together in the morning, and Oliver, who's obviously living in the same house, barging in on them.
Whoa, hey Eve.
Yeah.
Like,
and they go off and they tell him to stay home, and he's like, "Stay home? I think not." And he puts on his costume and he says, "It's time for Kid Omni-Man's first solo adventure." So he goes off and he's flying, and he runs into...
I don't know if I know this villain.
A monster.
Shoot. Man, it's not Furnace.
It's the person who's trapped in this suit.
He's trapped inside
You're right.
the suit.
He's trapped in the
to
suit.
create a lot of destruction, so people will
So
help
a
him.
hero will come and help
Yeah.
him. I forgot about this guy. He has a name. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, so...
He's orange and yellow. It looks like he's covered in spikes. He looks like Penance. He just, I don't know.
Penance from Marvel?
Yeah.
The one that
Had a lot of spikes all over him.
Wasn't he something else? Wasn't he?
Speedball.
Speedball. He was the one who caused Civil War.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I have the first appearance of Speedball.
Oh, yeah. I do. That's
I
a
do.
Spider-Man issue?
It's a Spider-Man annual. I think 12 or something. Anyways, so Omni-Man shows up and he's fighting him.
Kid Omni-Man.
Kid Omni-Man is comes in hot trying to fight him, sees he's doing destruction, but then realizes that he really just needs help. And the guy says, maybe you're strong enough to help me out. Turns out, it ends up going off to other story, but it comes back and it says that he says, "No, you're not strong enough. You're just wasting my time." And they're on the news right now, and Invincible sees that that Oliver is fighting alone, so he flies off to go save him. And Invincible comes in, crashes down, and Oliver's like, "Hey, man, I'm just trying to help him. He's trapped inside that suit." And Invincible's like, "Dude, look around you. Look at this destruction he's causing." He's like, "Go home. We'll talk about this later." So that's just another thing that's like, Kid Omni-Man keeps getting put down. He keeps trying, but he's not helping. Anytime he tries to help, he makes things worse.
Yeah, I didn't really like this relationship where it was Mark being like a fatherly figure to him, but in a very condescending way.
Yeah, but he's when people's lives are at risk.
Yeah, but you can see like the condescending tone, like in what it does to Oliver and how it could have made him a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By the way that he just talks to him. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan. I understand it, but
yeah.
This is
later. Go on.
Angstrom. Right?
Well, yeah. Later that night, Mark goes to apologize for kind of freaking out on him a little bit, and he just he talks about how he should be taking more responsibility for him and train him a little bit better to be a better hero. So he does kind of come around. I think in that moment he was probably just a little heated because of all the destruction that was going on.
Right.
But that is the moment in which
they realize that someone is watching. They don't know that it's Angstrom yet.
Yeah.
So later on, just a quick little thing. Mark takes them for hot dogs at Beefy Frank's, which is the same place that we see. I think we see it like in one of the first couple
Nolan
issues,
takes
right?
Mark
Nolan
there.
takes him.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, like the next kind of big thing that happens.
Oh, there's April.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So she is there pretty late on.
She's around.
Yeah.
She's still existing out there somewhere. But yeah, like the next big thing that happens is really the Invincible War, which something I never really thought about until I started researching Oliver is that the fact that like we talked about earlier, none of these Invincibles came through with a sidekick. No Omni Boys, no Kid Invincibles, nothing like that. It's because Kid Omni-Man is the only one that exists in all these dimensions that we've seen, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
I think that's awesome.
That's some nice continuity there.
Yeah, I think it would be cool though
because he could have.
I think
because Angstrom said I hadn't come across one yet.
Right.
There very well could have been.
How cool would it be if like a whole bunch of there were a bunch of Kid Omni-Mans in the sky too.
Most of the evil Invincibles, what is their backstory?
Omni-Man.
Well, what happened?
Someone
they either joined.
Dies.
They either joined Omni-Man, or
Eve
died, or somebody like they turned bad to a degree. But if Mark and Nolan never fight, and Nolan never turns his Nolan never goes to Thraxa. There's never an Oliver.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point.
So if they join together and Mark is evil, Nolan doesn't need to go there.
Yeah.
Which would mean there'd be no Oliver.
See, this is why we needed that whiteboard, because we would have discovered this during our What If episode.
You're right.
So yeah, this the Angstrom Levy portion of the Viltrumite War ends with, Invincible getting the better of him, putting him on the ground. He's beating the shit out of him. And I think that Invincible was, about to kill him. But then Kid Omni-Man shows up and he's like, do it. Kill him.
Yeah.
Just do it. Before he has a chance to escape, why are you even hesitating? Look at what he's done. Just look around you. You thought you'd already killed him before. If you had, none of this would have happened.
Mm-hmm. And then Mark has, I love, this is such a great use of repeating panels showing Mark, consider it for a second, because that's what's going through his mind. It shows Mark, goes to Angstrom, goes back to Mark, and you just know he's about to do it.
And like you said earlier, you think that this is going to be a story about Invincible stopping Kid Omni-Man, but it's actually a story about Invincible going bad, in a way. Because he looks back and he says, you know what, Kid Omni-Man has a point. He says, okay, Angstrom, I'm sorry, but you've given me no choice. And he's about to kill him, but then Angstrom Levy throws his, mechanical whatever balls at him.
Mechanical balls
at him.
Gosh.
Right
Orbs,
into his face.
We call them orbs.
Right into it, and then he disappears into another dimension, but Invincible reaches in and grabs him by the arm and says, you're not getting away that easily. And he goes, that's what you think, pretty much. And then he cuts off the
portal
dimension
closes.
To the dimension over his arm and cuts his own arm off.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
What?
And that brings us to Conquest.
I have that page. So Oliver's watching the fight between Invincible and Conquest.
Sees he's getting his ass beat and decides to do something about it.
Mm-hmm. I love how he's like, I know where they are. They found him again. He's not far away. I can help. And he takes off.
So, yeah, Mark is getting his ass beat, and Kid Omni-Man shows up, and flies right at...
Big ass beatdown coming up!
Right at Conquest, tackles him, and Conquest gets right up and just grabs him by the arm.
The way he talks never leaves. He's always that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. His personality now is so consistent throughout. It's Oliver.
Yeah.
It stays this way.
Yep. So Conquest grabs him by the arm.
I just love Mark throwing him.
Yeah.
Mark tells him, he's like, Oliver, get out of here. He'll kill you. And he literally throws Oliver.
I would do the same thing. I've talked about that before, where if your kid's about to fall down the stairs or run out in front of the street, you will break their arm to pull them back in. You will.
Yeah.
And this fate.
Speaking of arms breaking.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, so Invincible throws him away.
Oh, God. I remember being so scared during all of that. I still am. I know what happens.
Mark is consistently trying to protect Oliver, which is just adding another frustration to this fight and how brutal it is, because Kid Omni-Man's trying to help, but he's really just a hindrance for Invincible to beat the shit out of Conquest. Conquest again gets the better of Invincible. Kid Omni-Man comes in and kicks him away and says, "Come," and tries pulling Invincible up, saying, "Come on, help, get up and fight." Conquest grabs
he smacks Mark away.
He just backhands
him. He goes flying.
Grabs Kid Invincible and breaks his arm. Kid Omni-Man's arm, and just
it's almost like he just grabs his bicep and just pulls it out of the socket.
Yeah. And then picks him up straight in the air. Very Bane.
This always stuck with
Batman. Me. Yeah.
This is so, because it's so disturbing. It always stuck with me. The fact that
he's about to rip him in half.
Do you feel your vertebrae separating?
Mm-hmm.
Your muscles starting to stretch. If you're able to focus through the pain, you'll feel your skin being pulled to its breaking point.
This is going to be amazing.
Yeah, this is going to be amazing.
Enjoying it.
Oliver in half.
So, and then Invincible flies through to save him, tackles Conquest to the ground.
Just Oliver, holding his chest.
Broken arm.
And who comes to Oliver's rescue?
Cecil.
Cecil does.
Yeah.
Watching the entire time, grabs
waiting in the wings.
Trying
to recruit him.
Like Mr. Burns. Excellent.
So, yeah. and then grabs him out. The next we see Oliver is in the hospital, and Mark
after the fight with Conquest.
The fight with Conquest, Mark gets away, obviously, and Mark says, I scolded you, I yelled at you, I thought I knew better, I thought you were misguided, naive, I was wrong. You were right the whole time, but I've learned my lesson. Someone tries to hurt my family, someone I love. If there's another villain out there putting lives in danger, who's just going to keep coming at me until they finally succeed, I won't hesitate to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how that issue ends.
And that is the end of
what I consider to be the Young Omni-Man arc of it. Like his,
Kid Omni-Man, sorry.
Yeah, Kid Omni-Man.
Yeah.
But that's interesting, TJ. Like, his whole arc has a lot, like that whole arc that you talked about has a lot to do with whether or not to kill the villain. It has a lot to do with Oliver and who he is as not a human being, and how he perceives humans, and viewing life as precious and all that kind of stuff. And I love how Mark kind of went on that journey along with him, and it ended with him saying he won't hesitate to kill them. But yeah, so next up we've got Young Omni-Man, this section that some time has passed.
Well, check out this twist, okay? So the next appearance of Oliver is also the first appearance of Dinosaurus, which is where we're going to segue right now and do our character discussion of Dinosaurus.
Bye, Oliver. So, Dinosaurus.
Dinosaur is a red dinosaur.
Or man?
Is he a dinosaur?
No.
Or is he a Muppet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this
Oliver shows up.
In my opinion, is the best costume. One of the best costumes.
That's it. Hold on.
In all of Invincible.
You ruined it. We're gonna be talking about our favorite costume.
You ruined it.
But that's okay. TJ and I haven't given ours. So
you should leave now.
I'm saying this is everyone's.
Oh, is it? He has a new costume.
So he has a new costume, and when he flies up, it's so fun because he was saying how...
Because he's been sick, or like he was in the hospital.
He was getting better. Well, and how he got his costume was that Mark was like, oh, sweet, what, like, awesome costume, I love it. Like, what brought it on? He was like, oh, I was fighting the elephant dude, and you ripped my costume. And then he also agreed upon... wait. Well, anyway, my costume got all ripped up. I went for Artifix, and he said, you're getting a little old for that exposed leg bit, which is what we talked about.
Yep. Because that would have been weird if he's aging and he's getting to be like, what does he look like now? Is he like...
He's a teenager.
He's like 13, 14.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like between 7 and 9 when he was... Kid Omni-Man, and right now he's definitely a teenager.
Now and it's cool because it looks very much like Omni-Man's costume. Still has the logo, but it's black and red. No cape. He still has the gloves.
Did the O go all the way down that black line? Go all the way down the torso before?
In Omni-Man's?
Kid Omni-Man?
No,
just
regular
Omni-Man.
I think it was just the O.
I don't know, TJ. You got it right there. I think it is just.
It did go all the way down.
It went all the way down?
Yeah.
No, it's blood. Oh no, it did.
No,
it
that's
did.
blood. But yeah,
he's got red on
him. So yeah, new costume. Let's see.
This is angsty Oliver too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, kind of. I mean, so he's in one of the slower parts of it's him talking to Debbie about what her relationship with
Paul. Yeah. Yeah.
And he's just kind of like, ugh, like he doesn't really.
Mm-hmm. I like how she's like, Oliver, kid, I sure am glad you came along. But yeah, so a lot of this is the lead up to the Viltrumite War.
Mm-hmm. Look at how jacked he is.
Look at this
panel
art.
Yeah.
This is
Lizard. He's fighting. So Oliver's helping. Oh no, actually, he's
by himself fighting the Lizard League. Yep, it's just a panel that cuts away to him fighting the Lizard League. So we know that Nolan and Alan have shown up to to help or to recruit Mark and them. So in issue 71, the beginning of the Viltrumite War, they walk in the door, and Nolan is standing there. And this is the first time Nolan has seen Oliver.
And vice versa.
Yeah,
and
well,
Oliver
yeah.
Since he was a baby.
Since they're Exa. I like how Oliver says, "I was worried you wouldn't recognize me."
It's such a cool moment because we know that everything that we know about Kid Omni-Man and Young Omni-Man, I mean, it says it in the name. He wanted to name himself that to honor his father. Mm-hmm. He looked up to his father his whole life, but he didn't really know him that well. You know what I mean? But at the same time, he has perfect recollection of every single moment of his life. This is a huge moment for Oliver.
Who allowed...
And for Nolan.
Because Oliver walked in and knew Mark was leaving, and then he was like, I want to come with you. Like, and Mark was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You're staying home.
Like, Nolan wasn't... Like, the plan was for Oliver to stay on Earth.
Yeah. So who allowed Oliver to come? It was Nolan, right?
Yeah.
Like, he thinks that it's a good idea.
Yeah, he changed his mind because
so they can learn.
He wants to know more about Oliver. Mm-hmm. So he changed his mind, and they bring him along as well. While they're in space, Oliver talks about how cool it is that he can hold his breath for a really long time. But on their way to the Coalition, they're attacked by a ship, and Conquest is back.
Oh my god!
And look, Lucan.
Yeah,
he was there the whole time in the back.
So I kept thinking as I was revisiting this, Oliver just keeps flying in and then getting knocked away.
He always does that.
Like,
he flies in.
Oh, I'm ready to help, and then like a stronger Viltrumite just knocks him off. Like, why is he even a part of this fight? If I were Nolan, I'd be like, sit in the ship. Mm-hmm. Like, don't. I want to get to know you, but that doesn't mean I want you to fight.
Yeah, Conquest calls him a warm up.
Mm-hmm. But this is very reminiscent. So Oliver is running out of air.
Yeah,
and he needs to find a planet with air on it. So they're fighting. So Oliver is flying to this planet. Conquest is like, you're not going to get away from me. And it's almost the reverse of what was happening before when Mark was carrying Oliver and...
Oh, yeah.
Andressa. And it's almost the same shot.
Yeah,
the same
similar.
Panel with like the very close up
the hand
foot.
Grabbing the foot. You're right. That is very close.
It's very, very close. It's almost identical.
I'm looking
it up. It's the same kind of feeling. So the shot is, it's a full panel and it's a full page and it's 3 panels of Oliver breaking the atmosphere of the planet, gasping for air, and Mark. Yeah, it's extremely close.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
But yeah, that moment with Mark flying, trying to catch up to Conquest,
go to the
chasing.
Next page, dude. Go to the next page. It's like,
yeah,
like him breaking the atmosphere, gasping for breath.
I just love the blood streaking across Mark's face. He's flying so fast. Yeah.
And then this is this whole. Is this where Oliver gets his arm ripped off? Is it? Oh no,
nope,
that's
not yet.
That's Thrag. Thrag does that.
Yep, that's later.
So this is the kind of end of this. This is where Mark actually kills Conquest.
Mm-hmm. And then we get Oliver and Nolan getting to spend that quality time together.
This is amazing. Mm-hmm. How long were they on this planet for?
It was for months.
Months. I think they tell him when he wakes up, and I forgot what it was. They say at one point they say, yeah, I can't find it. It's something. It's several months. Yeah.
Well, Nolan's got a full beard.
Mm-hmm.
In some of the
at one point they're talking like, they're killing these monsters. They're forced to eat them, and they're grossed out at first, but then they end up liking them. At one point, they actually talked about love and how who he was attracted to, and Oliver says that he actually once saw a
lobster.
A lobster, yeah, in a lobster tank.
Yeah.
And Mom took me to a restaurant once that had a lobster tank. I mean, I still ate one, but I thought it was beautiful. Nolan says there are some girls I could introduce you to on Telescria. The daughter of the woman who lives next to me in my building has a similar appearance. So we get a little bit.
Do you think that's her?
That is Haluma.
You think it's Haluma?
100%. Haluma looks like a lobster.
Oh, she does. I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Wow. Go Nolan.
Isn't that cool? Nolan hooked up his son. But yeah, some great bonding time. And then Mark wakes up. They
So now we're on issue 74, right?
I think so, because
it's around there.
The one right before 75. But it's the but no, it is, because it leads up to 75, which is the big one. This is they show up to the planet, the coalition of planets. Mark and Oliver fly through a ship together.
Does Oliver look a little bit older in this?
Well,
maybe not.
Maybe
his hair is definitely longer.
I think it's because there's. I mean,
that is one important thing to not talk about. No, he doesn't have a beard.
Mark has a beard.
Mark has a beard.
Oh, Mark does. Yeah. Did you say Mark looks older?
No. Oliver looks older.
Well, he might have, because this is a couple months have passed, so maybe he went from like a 14-year-old to like a 16. maybe like 13 to
16.
15, 16.
He looks 16, especially with the longer hair. He looks like he's.
That's one thing we didn't talk about. When he first showed up in this new costume, did he have the long hair?
Yeah, he had longer hair.
Oh, you're right. It was shoulder length.
It was like Riker's hair, like right longer than his ears. Now it's shoulder length.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he first showed up in the red and black costume, he had that kind of like right below your ears kind of hair.
Yeah, this is straight up like down to his shoulder.
And now it's like super long, which is a huge, characteristic of this.
Zuko, we have to talk about your hair.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that was the play, right? When we were watching the play.
Yep.
Another Avatar reference.
That reminds me, I have a video to show you. We'll talk about it.
Okay. Issue 75. I love that splash page of
you have
Tech Jacket, Battle Beast,
Alan, Nolan,
Mark, Space Racer, and Oliver on the side
saying hell yeah. Ever the excited.
But no, this is the scene that you were thinking about, Bill, when Thrag, the first time we really see Thrag let loose, and he's just destroying everybody, and Oliver being Oliver flies at him,
thinking that he stands a chance.
Hey, dickhead! A black hole called and wants its suck back.
So this is the difference between, I think, Thrag and like anyone else. There's one panel. Go back. There's one panel of him just catching Oliver's punch, and then the next thing, his arm is ripped off and his jaw is broken off. And you think Oliver's dead. Yeah,
everybody else does too. Mark has a moment with him, like he thinks he's dead. So grieve while you can, because I assure you, yeah. So that's also the scene where they fly through the planet Viltrum. We do get to see Oliver for a quick second in issue 76.
In a Bacta tank.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a Bacta tank, right?
Yeah, yep.
Totally is. He has the robotic arm.
Robot jaw, and then it's going to take time for the skin to heal over the fake stuff. Which he would have to get a new arm. A lot.
I never thought about that.
Like, because
he would outgrow the arm.
He would outgrow the arm. He would have this little robot arm.
It'd be cute, though.
And his jaw.
Yeah, his jaw. They'd have to keep updating it.
He'd have to update it.
That would suck.
Could you imagine?
I mean
the technology.
I mean, I don't think it's I mean, it could be technology that extends. Like, the arm could extend. So they might not have to completely replace it.
They would have to think about that. They're so smart.
He's in a Bacta tank.
Yeah.
So yeah, issue 78. They're back on Earth, and they explain to Debbie that Oliver is on recovering on Telescria, which is where he's going to stay. So, and then we don't see him till
85.
85.
That's a long time.
This is the Corey Walker arc. This is him spending a lot of time with Alan, working with the Coalition, working with Alan, kind of being a hero there. And
I think this is where he obviously feels more at home.
Yes, definitely.
I mean? Because
he's doing what he wants on a foreign planet, because he doesn't, he has no connection to Earth. He's with Omni-Man. Omni-Man and Debbie come back, so he gets to be with them again.
And this is when, issue 86, sorry.
So this the big storyline during all this was
Nolan, Alan wants to use the Scourge virus.
Yeah, because we now know that the Viltrumites are living on Earth.
Right.
And Alan sees this as an opportunity to
wipe them out.
Wipe them out.
Them.
Yeah.
But Nolan says that their DNA is so similar to
humans
that you don't know what the side effects would be, and Alan doesn't care.
Yeah. Oliver actually sees them fighting, shows up, and starts attacking Alan. Because this is his dad he's beating up.
Right.
So it's cool, though, because as this fight goes on and as the conversation progresses...
He changes his mind.
Yeah.
Oliver changes his mind and says that Alan's right. Like, it's the right thing to do.
Which is not surprising.
No.
That's how...
This is Oliver.
That's how he is.
He has he does not care about
to the
humanity.
human race.
He's not human at all.
Yeah.
He's Viltrumite's crab monster.
And Omni-Man's, Nolan's, using the argument that I change, they could change too. And Oliver's like, you're wrong. They're not. You know, you believe Viltrumites will learn from them and be made better by it. I'm sorry, Father, but you're wrong. Omni-Man gets taken away, and Oliver and Alan go off on their mission to go use the Scourge virus.
On Earth. And issue 88. The cover is Mark throwing an uppercut at Oliver. And there being blood everywhere. So you've got Thrag next to Mark talking about what's happening.
Because Thrag has been made aware of their arrival.
Right.
The Guardians of the Globe, who the expanded team that we now know all about, have shown up to help stop this. But throughout the whole argument, because I think at one point Alan is subdued or he can't do it, Oliver takes the Scourge virus and just flies straight down into the atmosphere.
He flies over to Alan, grabs the gun that's got the Scourge virus in it, and just goes to Earth to go do it. And Mark chases after him. A fight ensues, and the gun...
TJ, how would you...
Blasted right in his face, in Mark's face.
How would you pronounce that?
Shoom.
Yeah.
The P is silent.
Oh, no, wait. PSH is... It wouldn't be F.
It'd be sh.
It would be shoom.
Or pf.
Yeah.
Pfoom.
Shoom.
There's
no F.
I think like the P is like a little separate. It's like pshoom.
Yeah.
I like that. That was a really good one.
Pshoom.
That was a good one.
Oh, yeah, like
because it had a nice little pook to it, too.
Pshoom.
So, yeah, that happens to Mark's
Mark
face.
gets pshoomed in the face with a canister of Scourge virus and somehow comes back.
Because it's the blood of Argol, Bill.
Yeah, I suppose. So, issue 90, you have the coolest cover ever. With Mark, you've got Bulletproof in Invincible costume still. You've got Eve. Wait, who's Bulletproof? That's Walking Dread, right?
Which one?
On the cover of 88.
Oh, yeah, there's Walking Dread.
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes it. I think that's the issue that
No,
he
90,
makes.
issue 90, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's his first appearance. So I think let's see. Oliver and Alan. This is when they team up for a while. They spend some time talking about whether or not this was the right thing to do.
Right. They leave Earth. And Alan says, "Do you want to go visit Tech Jacket?"
Oh yeah.
And Oliver says, "Sure."
Yeah.
And it's them just getting destroyed
by this creature,
by this crazy alien that I gotta say looks just like an alien that Tech Jacket would be fighting.
Yeah.
In Tech Jacket.
Interesting. Was this while Tech Jacket was going on again? This issue?
I feel like it was.
I think it was too.
Yeah.
Huh. Eve says that she needs a hand. She interrupts before they leave Earth. She says they need a hand with something. Mark has woken up because meanwhile Mark had been sick. Oliver helps break up a fight between Dinosaurus and Alan and
Zandale.
Yeah, they're all there. That's when Mark punches Alan's head, finds out that he's still really weak. But then in issue, jumping ahead a little bit to 96, this is when Mark freaks out because this is after the what you call them, the TJ, what are they called again?
Thraxons.
No.
Flaxons.
Flaxons. Flaxon, Traxon, Traxia, Flaxia. this is after they attack Paris. Mark is freaking out on Oliver and Alan. Because they weren't there to help, which is a cool way of covering for the fact that they weren't there at all. Like we always say, like in this world where the Avengers exist, why aren't they helping this character fight this thing? I love how he's like, where the hell?
That shit.
Yeah, he's like, where the hell were you guys? And they're like, well, the thing is, Tech Jacket met this alien, and she invited us to her mothership.
It looks like Mark is their mom, and they're both in trouble, and they're like backing each other up. Such a fun little
thing
that they have.
I love it. And this is when, you know, Alan apologizes, and Alan, they basically say that they're leaving Earth, and Oliver goes to tell Mark that that they need to talk.
And this is where he has a heart-to-heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I own this page.
Mm-hmm.
He tells Mark he could have killed him. It would have been his fault. It was a mistake for him to bring the Scourge virus.
He's crying.
Right.
Really good scene. I love Alan sitting on the roof.
That's the best part of this. Because it looks so like, I don't know, like they're setting the tone for a very emotional scene.
I just love all of this. Like it's what makes Invincible. The little funny comedic thing with them standing there like they're in trouble, and then it's kind of like when Ryan be like, oh, I got in trouble by my mom, I have to go inside, and what would you do? You'd sit outside and wait. And
yeah,
just like, yeah, okay. Yeah. But this is like the only time you ever see Oliver show this kind of emotion.
Yeah.
Over loss, over losing somebody. And he I mean, that's a really good scene with him being afraid. And we get April again.
Nope, that was out of order.
It was?
Yeah, I don't think you got April there. That because
this is right before
Oliver leaves
this is right
Earth,
before he goes.
And that's it. That's the last time we see Oliver for a really long time. What issue was that, Bill?
That was issue 90. It was issue 90.
96.
No, it wasn't. Oh yeah, 96. Yeah. Okay.
So we don't see Oliver until issue 118.
That is over a year
in our time. Yeah,
that's insane.
Without ever seeing that character.
Without honestly ever seeing a main character.
It was probably much longer.
Might have been a little bit longer than
that. It was, because it was more than 12 issues.
Yeah, and I'm saying that
plus
there were probably delays.
It was probably 2 years, to be honest.
Welcome to the joke.
Oh, I gotcha.
So the next time we see Oliver is when, after Mark decides to leave Earth, he brings his daughter, Tara, and Eve along with him. Issue 118, Oliver shows up, and he looks different now. He has gotten much older. He now looks like he's
20s,
early 20s, early 23.
I'd say 20, so. Yeah, 23.
He's catching up to Mark.
Probably.
Yeah, and he even says like, oh, you know, it's slow. Like Mark says, oh man, you're gonna look older than me soon. A little foreshadowing there, maybe. And Oliver says, no, I think it's slowing down. We're probably going to look the same age for a while. And
until you die.
And then
spoiler.
And then he's got a new costume. He's got a Coalition costume, which is very similar to what Omni-Man was wearing.
Minus the no boots thing.
Yeah, but he has boots. The gray and red. He actually has a cape finally. Yeah. He's always looked up to Omni-Man. He had his symbol on his chest, but never had a cape. Short hair.
I think it's cool that he has a Coalition costume, because I don't think that he cares about how Earth sees him anymore.
Yeah, exactly. He was a symbol to Earth to prove that his father was a good man.
He doesn't care about that anymore.
No, now he's just like a cop. You know what I mean? Like I kind of view him as just like kind of more of like security cop kind of thing for Alan and the Coalition. And he looks a lot like Mark too. He mentions to Mark that he's met someone. He has a girlfriend, and they're pretty serious. And she wants to come over and cook them dinner. So that night, Oliver comes by with Haluma, who looks like a lobster, and goes to cook them dinner. Or she goes to cook them dinner, and Mark says to her, Mark and Eve are both kind of taken back, and Oliver says, I know she doesn't seem like the ideal mate to you, but I think you now get a sense of how I saw everyone on Earth during my time there. Haluma really does it for me. And Mark's like, yeah, whatever makes you happy. And he's like, did you see those mandibles? So I like that. Just, really showing us he is not human. He never viewed humans as like him. So Haluma cooks for them. Ends up being gross food.
but delectable.
But delicious. And I loved how this was a great opportunity for Ottley to really go nuts with some crazy monster-looking food and weird stuff.
Canslock.
But this issue ended with Tara being really sick. And in 119, she's rushed to the hospital. And Oliver and Haluma show up to the hospital. And Mark freaks out. And he's blaming Haluma. And
for the food.
Yeah, he calls her a bitch. Like, he straight up freaks out on her. And she's the one that calls him an idiot for bringing a baby to an alien planet. Mm-hmm. You don't know what she can be allergic to. It could be the air. It could be anything. Don't go blaming my food. Oliver jumps in between them, tells them to calm the hell down. But it was just a great scene. Like, Mark breaks down saying he can't lose her. I can't lose her. But yeah, it ended up not being Haluma's food. But from then on, there's this tension with Haluma and Mark.
The two of them, yeah.
Then 120, Mark is now working with Oliver. They're surveying the scene of Battle Beast and Thrag, the fight that they had on Thraxa, back on his home planet.
Yeah.
And Mark even says to him, is this weird for you being here? And Oliver says, a little, but it's been generations since I was born, and things move so fast here, I barely recognize the place, and everyone who would remember me is long dead, including my mother. Mark says he's sorry, and Oliver says, I was still a baby when I left, and I've been well aware that since then, that she probably died a matter of days after I saw her. So I loved that callback. I loved getting to see them again. And getting to see the Thraxans again. Then we got more on Telescria. Oliver's pissed at Alan for sending Mark to a breeding ground or breeding season where there's monsters. They decided to go on a date night together.
That was hilarious.
They end up going on a date night together to what Oliver describes as like a movie experience type thing where it's all vibration and lights. And so it's... Mark and Eve and Tara with Oliver and Haluma and Alan. And we got a funny scene between Mark and Haluma. They're still not really on speaking terms. But it ends up being a very uncomfortable experience for Tara. And even Mark has a headache. I remember we were theorizing that this might have something to do with the vibrations.
Mm-hmm.
Their inner ear thing. And it was interesting that it didn't bother Oliver because he's part Thraxan, where Mark and Tara are part human, as opposed to Thraxan. So it ultimately ended up being nothing. Right. I think it was nothing. This was all just during the time in which Kirkman was trying to stress the fact that Telescria is an alien place and everything is out to kill them and hurt them and make them uncomfortable.
Identity theft.
What is that?
That's the thing that we theorized.
That whole thing, the clone.
Like them going through the park and another alien stealing.
Mark and Oliver are patrolling. They see an illegal Canslock farm, which was a cool way to bring Canslock, like to give the Canslock that Alan's always eating.
They're the little potato chip type.
Give them a story.
I feel like Ryan Ottley loves the idea of Canslock.
He does.
He talks about it all the time.
But anyways, Mark and Oliver break that up, and they have a Rhinax protecting it, and this thing just keeps yelling Rhinax. And Oliver's like, oh my gosh, they have a Rhinax. And Mark's like, what is that? And it's yelling Rhinax, and Oliver's like, it's a Rhinax. And it just keeps going, Rhinax.
Oh.
But it was just a really funny scene. After they kill that thing, they land, and Oliver tells him, it's like, man, those were extinct. We probably killed the last one. And Mark's like, we killed the last one? And he's like, hell yeah, we'll be heroes. I love Oliver. Like the way his character
he doesn't think about. He doesn't think like a human.
Yeah. Which, by the way, he was fucking with him. He says you're so gullible. That wasn't the last one. They speak with Alan. Alan has located Thrag. He's sending Mark and Oliver to go find him. On their way to that planet, they talk about how they're nervous because they found out that Thrag is obviously making like Mark says, an army of yous. They were making, like, imagine what Thrag could do. And Oliver's like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool to me. I think we're screwed. And like Oliver gives Mark a hard time for being so worried about him all the time. He's still kind of being that parent to him in a way. They search for Thrag, for Space Racer. Neither are to be found, and this is when Mark gets thrown into the future for reboot. Then we don't see Oliver until issue 127 at the party in which Haluma and Eve are getting along just fine, and
he's an adult now.
Mark even mentions like, oh yeah, Eve and Haluma are getting on like a house on fire, I think he says. So that angst, that uncomfortableness has gone. Oliver walks up, sees Mark. Oliver's older. He's got his little mustache going.
Mm-hmm.
He's
starting the.
He's, what would you say here?
He's
he's an adult.
30.
Yeah, easily.
32.
He's definitely older than Mark.
Yeah, and he's jacked. He's jacked, especially in some later
kind
scenes.
Of suave.
Oh yeah.
Little Rico Suave.
And he's completely lost the purple. I should mention that when they got to in 112, when they got to the Coalition, his purple was gone.
Mm-hmm. Gone.
It's completely gone.
Yeah.
So that's taken over, and it had been fading ever since. So Mark breaks down crying because he's missed so much. Oliver gives him a hard time about it. Oliver has kids. He has 2 kids, 2 twins, who are orange. So these orange babies are part Viltrumite, part Thraxan, part
whatever
Haluma is. But we still assume that the Viltrumite DNA will take over. They're probably just going to be like him, orange babies, maybe age a little quickly, but ultimately end up becoming Viltrumites. We'll talk about more about that later. But
this is where we're introduced to the whole is he, isn't he bad, where he's a double agent for Thrag.
Yeah, he sits down to a computer, says that everything's progressing, as scheduled. Yep. And saying that his brother's going to stay out of it. And
we find out he's talking to Thrag.
Yep.
That's how it ends.
129.
This is actually also... Is this our first issue as the Invincible podcast? I think it was.
Oh, that issue was the one that we just talked about.
27 was our first.
128 was.
28?
Yeah, the first issue back from Reboot.
Wow.
So we've talked all about this. Is Oliver bad? He's at the hospital where Alan is. He's looking off in the distance like he might be connected to everything that's going on, which he kind of really wasn't at the time.
You get Tara and Oliver.
Tara and Oliver's relationship was great. Uncle Oliver, he's super protective of her. He's jacked, like ridiculous.
You keep talking about that.
Do you see that?
I see him.
He's bigger there than Alan.
No, he's not.
No,
look how big his arms are.
He's not. He's not bigger than Alan.
No, he's big. He's bigger than Mark.
His biceps are bigger than Alan's biceps.
His biceps are bigger than.
I don't know. Either way.
Maybe he just always feels like he needs to be flexing.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It looks like he's always flexing.
He's always like, hey, look at these pecs.
Yep. More scenes that kind of give us an idea that maybe Oliver's up to no good. More scenes with him talking to Thrag in the later issues. He tells Thrag that he wants his trust, that he wants, share your location with me. We should meet face to face. We know now that he was trying to get information out of Thrag. Thrag does tell him, you want my, what does he call it? You want my trust? You want to build on the trust between us? I need you to prove that you're completely loyal to me. And Oliver says, what do you need me to do? Do nothing. I demand you do nothing. I've located your brother and his family. I have ordered their execution. I need you to do nothing. Oliver freaks out, tells him, don't do this. Please don't do this. We could turn him to our side. Please don't do this. And click, the computer turns off. And that's the last we see. The final issue in which Oliver is alive, issue 132. Tara is being attacked by Thrag. Oliver shows up to save her.
Tackles Thrag.
As TJ predicted.
Yeah. They fight. Oliver and Thrag fight. Tara breaks her ankle on Thrag. Oliver freaks out, yells at him, saying things like, you may have been the strongest among us, but I know the real reason why you hate my family. We have something you'll never have. We have the blood of Argyle coursing through our veins. We're born leaders, something you'll never be. And Thrag responds by Viltrumite punching him through his chest.
Viltrumite punch!
And kills Oliver.
In front of Tara.
In front of Tara. Wipes his blood on her face. Several pages later, Eve rebuilds themselves after they get killed, or nearly killed by Thrag. But Tara says, well, what about Uncle Oliver? And Eve says, I tried, but it was too late. I'm sorry. Issue 133, the first issue of The End of All Things, is the funeral for Oliver. We come from stars, we return to the stars.
So the last time Ottley drew Oliver was when he was 20-something, right, before Reboot.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get to draw him at all as an adult until he was laying in a coffin.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only time that he got to draw him as an adult.
Yeah.
Oh, it sucks.
And the cover of this issue, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
So, there's this funeral. Mark is pissed off. He blames Alan.
Because we all know Alan was the one who said
what happened, but Alan insists that Oliver volunteered for this, and he knew what he was doing. Mark was just upset about it. And then the last thing is just a little scene of the last time we see Haluma was issue 136. When Tara flies
up into the ceiling.
She flies up into the ceiling. Haluma freaks out, worried that the boys might be hurt, the twins, because they're toddlers now, and they ended up being okay, but she was worried because now she has no one to protect her. Mm-hmm. And that was it. That's the last we saw of Oliver's family. It's the last we saw of Oliver.
We saw Oliver from a baby to having children.
Yeah.
Like full circle in a comic.
Yeah, he had a very cool arc.
He had a total arc.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. So
he will be missed.
Yeah, we put out a tweet announcing this episode. A couple things that people said. Ben Quinlan said, "I wish we could have seen more in his kids. It'd be awesome if they wanted to honor their dad and became Kid Omni-Man." Which I thought was pretty funny.
Or Kid Young Omni-Man.
Young Kid Omni-Man, and just became completely ridiculous. Bus Crisis over on Twitter says how he grew up on Earth, but didn't care much for his humanity was always interesting. Yeah, we love that. That's a huge part of his character. He also says I would love to hear your thoughts on his kids and their role as part of the royal bloodline. So
they kind of have the blood of Argyle.
Yeah. So one more thing before we talk about that, because I do want to talk about that. CT57 Connor over on Twitter says Oliver was honestly my favorite character in my first read through. I remember first seeing him get his powers and thinking, okay, this could get annoying, but I was totally wrong. From killing the Maulers to his own death, he became one of the things keeping me hooked. So, a couple things I want to talk about. What do you think would have? What do you think happened with his kids in Haluma?
They went on living their lives and lived till old age and then died.
I mean, Haluma probably stayed on Telescria. Maybe the kids. Do you think the kids ended up with powers?
I think
we talked about? Yeah. They're Viltrumite. They probably did.
I think. Well, they're pretty diluted.
They're like 1/3.
Yeah.
Viltrumite.
Yeah. So I think they can probably fly. They probably have a little bit of super strength. I don't think.
You don't think that the blood is strong enough in them? Like they have some, so maybe they're strong. Maybe they could fly, but they're not like Mark level. Maybe.
I mean, the way that I took it is that Viltrumite, shall we say, DNA, okay, is like alien blood, right?
Yeah.
Like it's really concentrated.
Yeah.
It's very strong. So I don't know if it would be diluted after just like 3 generations.
I almost took it as like genetic though, where it's like what is it, like brown hair and everything like that. Like it will most likely overpower no matter what, And it's like everything else to Viltrumite DNA is blonde hair. You know what I mean?
You don't think that Mark could ever be as strong as Nolan?
That's what I mean. I don't know. I don't think so. I'm saying yes. I think he could. So I think that it always overpowers. So I don't know if it necessarily gets diluted. I don't know if it necessarily gets diluted. I would think that Oliver's grandkids would get to the point where it might start getting diluted.
I don't know, because I've never been a fan of this. Mark got torn vertically in half, and somehow Eve was able to save him.
Oh yeah.
And wasn't able to save Oliver getting punched through the chest.
Just because it had been 15 minutes earlier.
Yeah, I don't.
The argument is that there's still some life.
But how?
Mark's heart didn't stop beating.
How? How couldn't Mark have died?
And that was the thing that we talked about. Like that was touched on. We said it was kind of answered. The fact that Thrag even says to Nolan, "Oh, you moved your heart. Something you should have taught your son."
But I mean, not only that, but could it have been because Nolan is pure Viltrumite, Mark is maybe a stronger match with Viltrumite because he's human,
and then the Thrax one is weaker.
And Oliver wasn't that strong. He was strong, but not.
If that makes it more acceptable in your head, absolutely. Why not?
You know what? It does. That's what I'm going to go with. So I'm going to say that Haluma's kids.
I think between that and protecting your heart. So Haluma's kids are probably a little bit weaker then, if that's the way we're taking it.
I'd say they were.
I'd like to think that they had some powers and worked with the Coalition and became just like what Oliver was doing in his 20s, maybe going around and helping, superheroing a little bit.
The way I see it is the whole future line that was set up is that it's just peace throughout the galaxy.
Yeah, I like what Kirkman said, that like in that one fight scene between the Coalition and the Viltrumites, they were just in the background. What side of the war do you think they fought on?
The Empire.
The Coalition? Or the Viltrums?
The
Viltrumites.
Oh, that's a good point.
What side do you think, TJ? Do you think Oliver's kids fought for the Coalition or for the Viltrumites?
Haluma lived on
Telescria,
which was the home of the Coalition.
I feel like they would.
That's a story. I want to know that story.
I feel like they would go more their mother's side.
Yeah,
the Coalition. I'm feeling that too.
So think about that. Think about that story potential there. That you have two twin Viltrumites fighting with the Coalition against the Viltrumites. That's cool. I want that. What do you guys think would have happened if Eve had actually been able to heal him?
He would have lived happily ever after.
Happily ever after.
Raised his children. He probably would have died.
Probably would have died in the fight. Yeah. One of those fights during the end of all things. In which Eve wasn't nearby.
Or maybe he would have been nearby and maybe Nolan wouldn't have died.
Instead of? You think it could have been Oliver instead of Nolan?
Or maybe Oliver would have been there to save him.
I don't think Oliver should have died.
Where do you see him at the end?
I think that it was important for him to die because that's what broke Alan and Mark's comic-wide.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, friendship. That is what broke them.
However,
and it also is what convinced Nolan, was that final straw to convince Nolan to go with them to fight the dragon.
But I think that,
the Viltrumites.
That out of all the characters that I would have been, that need to die, that I would have been okay dying, that was a cool twist, Nolan needed to die. Like, I feel like his was the most, he had the most...
necessary?
What's the word I'm looking for? Retribution? Like, he was the
redemption.
Redemption, thank you. He was the one who really started the uprising, because he was the first Viltrumite to really kind of change, because Mark was human. But I think that Oliver, I really could see the ending being Oliver and Mark being bros. You know what I mean? And having this nice family, and wouldn't that... I feel like that could have been a better ending.
His kids would have been a bigger part.
I don't think Oliver needed to die. I don't think that he needed to die.
But we talked about, though, I feel like the reason why Kirkman did decide to go in that direction is because we did see his birth. I think that's awesome.
And I think full circle, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's why Kirkman ultimately went that route. He could have killed anybody. Honestly, I thought for sure he was... I mean, obviously Nolan set aside. I honestly thought it was going to be Alan. Because he was so strong.
Yeah.
He was so strong. How can he die? I thought we were going to see that.
And they gave him the weakness with that eyeball.
Yeah.
You know?
I thought for sure it was going to be Alan.
Something I keep trying to remember to bring up, but I never think about it on the pod until, while I'm on the podcast. The rings. Have we talked about that since the end? We never got the rings. We never got that red herring or whatever of them taking off the rings so they don't get damaged, and we'll come back for them later. We never got any type of...
But I think that's all it was meant to be.
It was meant to scare us. Yeah, it was meant to scare us.
Eve looking out the window.
I'm just surprised it never came back. There was never a moment of Eve looking at her ring being like, "Oh, I'm really glad everything worked out."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
This is just us.
It's us looking too deep.
Tearing it apart.
It's looking too deep.
Tearing it apart.
we've just recapped all of Oliver's life. Before we recapped it, and maybe even after we recapped it, but like before we recapped it, when you think back on your favorite moments with Oliver, like what are the moments you think of?
The Mauler twins.
The Mauler twins is the first thing I think of. The second thing I think of is Conquest pulling him.
I mean, I think a lot, the things that got me like really excited every time that I read Oliver, the first thing I think is of the Mauler twins, but just how he's the type of humor that he has is very much like what you like about Tara. You know what I mean? Everything that he says was funny. Like
it's realistic feeling. Like
in that one scene, he was like, you know, Mom and Paul are out. I'll go out patrolling, so you know, you guys can go have sex.
Yeah,
and like all making it all awkward. And stuff.
I don't think I think of a specific like picture in my mind. I think of them fighting.
Is it the conversation,
the
like
conflict between him and Mark?
Yeah. It's more everything that happened after the Maulers for those several issues where it's like life and death.
Where he was, because that whole time I was thinking like it's definitely going to be Invincible versus Kid Omni-Man. They're gonna fight, and then it didn't end up being like that. So that's always what I think of.
All right, so I picked out 9 covers with Oliver in them. These are all 9 that he's in. He's in like 2 others but he's like in the background kind of. But these are covers that he's fairly prominent in. Issue 29 with Mark holding him as a baby. Issue 51 drawn by Jim Lee. Issue 52 of them fighting.
The fact that Jim Lee did an Invincible cover.
I know, yeah. Issue 52 with them fighting. The issue 52 variant of them fighting in black and white, but it's actually a different pose.
It's actually the same pose from a different angle.
You're right. Issue 73, smaller Oliver, not as prominent, but it's them on the planet where Mark is dying. Issue 85 and 86, the Cory Walker arc with the Scourge virus. Issue 88, fighting Mark after the Scourge virus. And then 133, his funeral with him holding his twins. If you guys had to pick one.
I feel like for just the history of it, I love the fact that Jim Lee like is a part of the Invincible universe somehow. Yeah. Like I love that. When it comes to looks, though,
I think I have to go 52.
I think so too. I agree.
I disagree.
Although the variant 52, I might like.
You know what
more.
though? I gotta go. I still gotta go with Jim Lee's.
It is pretty epic. Him reaching up like that.
I love the way Kid Omni-Man looks at it. Looks in it, flying towards the reader.
I would have to say after seeing all of them, what do you think I'm gonna say, Ryan?
I think you're gonna say Cory Walker's.
No. I was gonna say 86. I do like the anatomy of the characters in it. Like it looks awesome.
I was gonna say 88. So even though this is the one and only time we ever see Ottley draw motion blur and lines, unless it was the inker, I just love the pose that he is in being punched by Mark. I love the costume. I love the length of his hair.
And I never really noticed the blood.
Yeah,
the blood,
bubbles of blood,
like bubbles. Yeah. So
I do love Cory Walker's though because he's so prominent in it, and it's just like him and his dad flying.
Oh yeah, the color in it's cool too.
I think that would be maybe my second favorite after. I don't know. There's so many good ones though.
There's 51, only 9
52, 51, 52, and 85.
Okay. Bill, we know your favorite costume. You like the red and black.
Young Omni-Man, yeah.
Young Omni-Man. TJ?
I love Kid Omni-Man.
So there's Kid Omni-Man, Young Omni-Man, then there's Coalition.
I love the Coalition costume.
Really?
I know it's weird.
Boring.
You're not wrong.
I know it's weird.
Wrong
yes,
about
you
Coalition.
are wrong.
Dude, it's so sharp. The colors on it, the fact that he has a cape, and a big part of it is the fact that he matches Mark so perfectly. Like the red and blue.
I love Mark in it.
They look so cool in it. I don't know.
I agree.
That's just me. And I love red and black. Like I love red and black, those colors together. Like it looks cool, but I don't know. Maybe it's also I don't know. I'm also not a big like Robin fan or anything like that. Like
I am.
And you are.
He's my favorite.
But yeah.
In the Batman universe.
What? So we just discussed a whole lot of Oliver. That was fun though. It went better than I thought. That was pretty cool. I like doing that. What you guys want to talk about some other stuff real quick before we wrap this up?
I do, because I have thoughts on a lot of stuff. We've been busy. There have been a lot of things that we've been doing.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
We talked about Lost in Space.
Yep.
Very good.
Other shows then, while we're talking shows. TJ, you don't watch Westworld, right? You
I watched the first 4 episodes, and it was just so repetitive that I couldn't.
Interesting.
I mean, literally repetitive that I couldn't really get into it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, yeah, the repetitiveness is a part of the story, especially early on. It's like, but it's telling a story through repetition,
figuratively and literally.
Interesting.
It was just
all right. If it's not for Bill, you guys are still on season 1?
So yeah, Liz and I are on episode 5. So
did Lost in Space take over?
No, Lost in Space we watched first. Then we started Westworld. Then we're watching Barry, which is Bill Hader's new show. Fucking amazing!
Really?
It is so funny, and it's a half hour. So it goes super quick.
I love half-hour shows.
It's the perfect pace. It's like, it feels like Entourage.
Is it it looks like a murder mystery drama.
No.
Is it a comedy?
It's a dark it's more comedy than anything, but it still has those moments of like good story in it. Like, is he gonna get caught? Like,
I don't know anything about it.
It's really good. We didn't know anything about it either.
All right.
Watch it. If you like Bill Hader, it's him doing something completely different, in my opinion, than he's
but I like him in comedies.
But
this is a comedy.
Oh, I'll check it out.
But it's him playing like
dark comedy-ish.
It's him playing this weird, uncomfortable introvert. Like, it's not overly. Have you guys ever seen that movie where he's gay and he has a twin sister that
Yes, I did see that. It's a really good movie.
He plays that character. A little less flamboyant.
Do you remember the name of that movie?
Oh, it's like the something twins or the skull.
It's called Twins, I think.
No, it's called the Skeleton.
TJ.
Skeleton Twin.
Skeleton Twin.
Okay.
Skeleton Twin.
I'll look that up. I'll watch.
Okay. So do you want my opinion on Westworld?
You don't have to talk too much about it because it's still kind of a show that people are still starting.
I'll just tell you one thing. It's very full of itself.
Yeah.
I am over how serious it takes itself. Like, I don't care about this maze thing. Just tell me what the fuck it is. Stop being cryptic for the sake of being cryptic. Like, just you keep saying things that I'm not supposed to understand at all, and then not ever talking about it until like maybe 2 episodes later, where I don't give a shit about it anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm almost to the point to where I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because it's.
How many episodes is the first season?
5.
5 out of 10?
No. We just finished episode 5, so we're halfway through.
Yeah. I rewatched the first season because the second season premiere just happened last Sunday. I get what you're saying.
Pretentious.
It is a little pretentious.
That's how it feels.
I think a lot of it isn't so much the story of the mystery. It's more the way the story is told and the world building that people love more. Because I agree that it is a little pretentious. It does get a little,
I don't think
convoluted when it doesn't need to be.
I don't think that the context deserves the pretentious
because
type of writing that it has.
It's such an awesome concept.
Yes.
It's great.
It is, and the things that I like about it is, like, how can people live... How can people go to this place, treat these things the way that they want to treat actual people, and then just leave and continue living their lives? It really makes people look disgusting.
Yeah.
It really does.
Dude, and it gets worse. Like,
I know people that are like, I can't watch it because it depicts rape. It depicts, like, murder in a way that is too real.
Yeah.
Which I think is good. Mm-hmm. But if it's stuck with that and stop being, like, it's almost
like... I will tell you this. The themes that you like, there's more of it in the later half of the first season. And the things that you don't like, there's more of it in the second half of the first season. Like, the highs are high and the lows are low in terms of that. And it's still worth watching. The second season seems like a very new interpretation, like a new step in this story, with a similar storytelling style, if that makes sense.
It's like they're trying to take this story that doesn't deserve that type of writing or storytelling and forcing it upon you. You know, like, you can totally tell Jonathan Nolan is writing it, because he's like, it's like someone gave him this, like, very linear story, and then he's like, I'm going to chop it up into pieces, and how can I make it more confusing to make it seem like there's a twist happening. But if you just watch this
and
linear.
The crazy thing is it's not even so much about the twist. And I'm telling you this as to help you. It's not about the twist. It's about the story and what
Which
happened.
I understand.
And
I get, yeah.
like the character growth of where they go from the beginning to the end. That's what it's about. It's not about the twist. It's not about that. But they're making it out to be like
I have a feeling because a lot of it doesn't make any sense where like it keeps showing what's Dolores like out in the open and then being interviewed and then out in the open and then being interviewed. I have a feeling like there's this weird like time thing happening that it's not telling you deliberately, like Memento. Like it's making me think like Memento. Like stop trying to trick me by doing things out of order and just fucking just tell the story.
It is. It's more frustrating when you're trying to watch it like a normal human and not binge it. Because if you're binging it, you can put it together a little bit easier. But it's still But I'm curious to see if you keep watching. TJ, I tried. I'm gonna pass Descender off onto Bill though. It wasn't quite for me.
I think that's crazy.
I know.
Did you finish it?
I did not.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
I did not.
So tell me what issue you got to.
I looked it up. And I wanted to end after the first trade. So I ended as if I had read just the first trade.
Okay, so what's the
halfway.
What's the 6th issue of Invincible?
The 6th issue of Invincible?
Yeah.
Boring.
You read 6
boring
issues.
and bad.
The 6th issue is Nolan killing the Guardians of the Globe?
No,
or the
it's
issue
not.
before Nolan killing the Guardians of the Globe?
7. Ottley's first issue is 8, which is the funeral.
Yeah. I don't think that's necessarily a direct comparison because I was still interested through 1 through 6.
You don't get
I know that it
interested
gets better
until like 11,
I know
which
it gets
is
better.
I didn't want to tell you this. It's the same as Invincible.
Okay.
Issue 11 and issue 12, like
right.
you. But even
and maybe
like,
I will get back to it. But right now,
we'll talk offline because I don't want to spoil anything. But there are certain things that I want to bring up to you, even in the first trade where I'm like, this part though.
TJ, to me, this feels like One Punch Man. I'm sorry, why didn't you finish it? How could you not like that?
How could you?
It's just not for
like
you, right?
One Punch Man.
It's just not for you. This just doesn't feel like it's for me though.
If you Google Descender comic, one of the first ones that will pop up is if you like Mass Effect. You guys love Mass Effect. I feel like this is a mix between Mass Effect and Saga. This is very Saga.
I got some Saga vibes.
Oh man,
it's kind of like Saga Star Wars.
What's crazy is that
it's interesting and it has a lot of anime.
Do you know that it's ending?
No,
it's only 3 issues away.
Yeah,
there's 32 issues total.
I might go back to it. So I'm just saying right now. It was one of those things that right now at this point in my life, I'm reading it and I'm just like,
that makes me sad.
I want to do other stuff. I'm sorry. I tried.
Think about putting a fucking compendium.
I know.
In front of somebody. I just gave you one hardcover.
I know. And I've given Invincible to people and they're like, I can't get into it.
I'll take it and I'll read it.
I feel like you're not going to like it, Bill. If Ryan didn't like it, I feel like you're not going to like it.
A lot of people love it. I've seen so much great stuff about it.
You're
I want to like it.
I've ever seen that.
I know. I'm sure Bill will like it. I actually think he will.
To be fair,
I feel like Bill very rarely disagrees with you about literature stuff like comics and movies and I don't know. If you didn't like it, I don't know if Bill will.
Here, it's not that me and Ryan think the same. It's when Ryan says he doesn't like something,
you read into it.
I then agree with him because it will make you mad.
No,
that's why.
Because I'll tell you right now, when we walked out of Ready Player One, you were like, yeah, I liked it, and then Ryan was like, I hated it, and then the next day you were like, I hated it, it was so bad.
It's because Ryan didn't like it.
Oh my god. Speaking of Saga, though, are you guys caught up?
I'm not caught up on anything. I'm not caught up on.
Unless a new issue just came out. A new issue just came out this week. I missed it again. How does this keep happening? I'm so used to Saga not coming out.
Before we even get to it, I'm not caught up on
TJ, I'm not gonna say anything.
White Knight, or Batman.
Yeah. Saga, TJ, I wish I could do what you do. I want to just read them all back to back, like in one big chunk, because it's a better comic that way, just like Walking Dead. I don't want to though when they come out because I'm stupidly subscribed to it. So my phone says, "Hey, you got a new issue of Saga," and I'm not gonna not read it. But no, I just have a problem. If I switched to not digital and only physical, it'd be a lot easier to do that. But Saga's awesome. It's same Saga. I want to talk about it with you guys. It's so good. I am doing that
because Descender is much like it.
I am kind of doing that with White Knight because I read that one physically. I've let the last couple pile up because after the first few issues, I was noticing that this is better when I read it it together. And the last issue of that, I think, is really soon. And so I want to read all of them when that issue comes out. So I am excited for White Knight because that was great.
Yeah, I'm not caught up on that.
Bill, God of War. It's... TJ, you said you're going to play it, right?
Yes, I am definitely going to play it.
We are definitely not going to spoil it. For anybody listening, I 100% not going to spoil it. I haven't even finished it. I'm maybe halfway.
I don't think it's fair to spoil this kind of game. Not to mention, it's almost impossible for you to spoil it because
if you have,
it doesn't give you. I still don't really have answers.
Yeah, exactly.
As to like what's going on.
Yeah, but there are things that can be spoiled.
Have you beaten it, Bill?
Fuck no.
He's.
How long is the game? Do we? Like
I've heard
story.
I've heard 40ish.
The main story.
For like to do everything worth doing, like side quests and stuff like that.
Dang,
which adds to the story.
Which I think adds to the story.
It adds to the story.
Side stories always add to the story.
Yeah, I'm maybe halfway. If I had a bet, if you have a PlayStation 4, if you have any fleeting interest, go out and buy this game. It was very quickly on one of my favorite games of all time list, and it has moved up to top 5.
Right, I would say
like TJ.
Incredible. I would say
it really is, and I so hate doing this because I feel like I cause.
Here's my worry. I
feel like I cause hype,
and the reason, well, I have been extremely busy,
and I don't want to set expectations too high.
I don't want to buy a game and then let it sit there because that would drive me nuts. Because I don't have time to play it. But another reason is because my biggest worry is that every game that comes out now just says, "Fuck everything we've done. We gotta be." And copy to a T Tomb Raider. We gotta be Tomb Raider.
Nothing like
Tomb Raider. It looks like fucking Tomb Raider.
People say Last of Us.
Do you learn the mechanics by walking through the woods with a bow and arrow? Like, it looks Tomb Raider to me. It looks Tomb Raider.
That's not fair to say though, because that's how every game is now. But what?
That's TJ's point.
Exactly.
Right, but
I think a big thing though, TJ, is what the kind of games you play right now have evolved to the point where they are more cinematic and they are post-apocalyptic and they are story-driven.
Uncharted is one of the most cinematic video games of all time, always. And
that's just a third-person shooter.
Yeah, but God of War is even more.
You have not played this game, TJ.
So you're saying that it's very like. It's hack 'em slash 'em.
What's funny,
is
TJ?
The complete opposite of that.
What's funny is
that's what I'm saying.
No,
they changed it because all the other God of Wars were hack 'em slash 'em.
No, TJ, it is still very much quick combat. It to me, and this sounds really weird because it's not really, but to me, it's very much Last of Us and Kingdom Hearts without the Disney stuff, but the gameplay style. There's a ton of RPG elements. There's a ton of quick fighting. There's a ton of like bosses and areas to go and fight enemies. Like, it's super deep. It's really, really cool.
The combat is very deep if you go deep, but you can play the game just doing
a straight linear story.
R1,
but it's,
block,
I don't even think you can. Some bosses you won't be able to do it.
But here's my thing. This game, I knew right off the bat it was going to be different from any God of War because just the way that it started, it was very somber, and it's just very like, the whole time you're just like your mouth is almost agape the whole time for some reason. You don't know why. I was like, Riker, you know what? You and me you're gonna sit here and you're gonna watch this game.
Oof.
Like, you're gonna watch this game.
You're a bad father.
I know a lot of people are gonna say that, but he hasn't seen any of the like human stuff.
Yeah.
Is there any like grabbing a whore by the hair?
No, there's no. That's the thing.
It's mature now. They've matured.
That's not mature.
They've matured.
I remember I was
I'm scared to watch it now. Now it's mature.
I was like, no. I was like, I was afraid because I was like, there's nudity in it and stuff like that, but there's none. Seriously, none.
So far.
And a lot of the things that you're fighting is like mythical creatures, like werewolves and draugrs or whatever. So there's a part in the very beginning where you do this amazing thing, right?
Okay.
And at the end of it, it was about a half hour long, and me and Riker were both winded.
Yeah.
Riker was watching it with me. I was standing up. I had to stand up to do this part of the game, and we were both like...
So, again,
oh my God.
We're not going to talk any spoilers. This isn't a spoiler, TJ. The entire game is one shot. We talk about that in movies and stuff like that, like Birdman is one continuous shot. The
Children
entire
of Men
game
did scenes that were one shot. Yeah.
The entire game is like that. And the way the pacing of this game is, even when there's moments and you can go and do whatever you want, the pacing of this game makes you never want to stop playing. It's so engaging and it's so good. I started
at 9 o'clock last night and played until 2 a.m.
Matt and I both were playing. We heard each other playing it. It was like 1:30 in the morning.
I went to bed and
I saw you and Matt both playing God of War on PlayStation 4 the entire weekend.
Yeah, dude, you don't even know.
Every time I
can't wait
because I was watching Lost of Space like crazy over the weekend. I'm like, every time I log on, Matt and Ryan up and
dude, you can't help. But anyways, go play that game. That's a great game. I
also want to play Detroit too.
Detroit, the demo came out for it.
What?
I played the demo.
The demo came out. It's out right now.
I played the demo last September at Fan Expo Canada.
Holy shit! Did you really?
And it was just
the
like
interrogation one or the
on the roof.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's probably the one that came out. So there's a demo. Bro.
It's like Heavy Rain, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Which the same developers, Quantic Dream, have released or are releasing or whatever. Beyond Two Souls, the second one after Heavy Rain, is the free game for PlayStation Plus next month.
Which got terrible reviews.
Yep.
Go play it.
Yeah, it did. Last thing we want to talk about. If you're listening to this, if you can hear my voice, you've probably seen Avengers: Infinity War.
This is true.
We're recording on Wednesday night, which means
tomorrow.
we haven't seen it yet. So, time travel. We haven't seen it. You have. We will be seeing it tomorrow night. What do you guys think? I don't want to talk too much about it because for the last few weeks, I've really just been ignoring everything.
Mm-hmm. So
I don't want to think too much to get in my head because what happened... I don't want Civil War to happen again.
Yes.
I went into Civil War with very high expectations, knowing the comics, knowing everything. It was basically an Avengers movie, hyping it. And I left, and Spider-Man's in this movie, Black Panther's in this movie. I left disappointed. It was a good movie, but I left disappointed.
Because your expectations were
upon a rewatch, Civil War is one of the best Marvel movies. It is incredible. It is really good. But I don't want that to happen with Infinity War.
I feel like...
I know early reviews are out because people have seen it. I have been ignoring the early reviews.
You don't know what...
I don't know
You
early
haven't
reviews.
heard a single thing about it?
Nope. I just know they're out.
So, me being not a huge fan of the Marvel movies, just think they're not bad, but just kind of mediocre.
Samey.
I don't understand the hype around them. Not terrible. Some of them are. But I feel like I'm going to like it. I think I'm going to like it, and I'm doing the same thing you are. I want to like it. I want to enjoy it because, I think Tom Holland is awesome as Spider-Man. I love Ant-Man. Ant-Man as a standalone film, not as a part of the Marvel movies, but in comparison to the Marvel movies, is my favorite Marvel movie.
You don't even know if Ant-Man's going to be in this.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't seen him in one thing.
I haven't either. That's true.
I know. It's going to be interesting.
But then again, I haven't really seen anything.
And Ant-Man is the next movie to come out,
Ant-Man
isn't
and
it?
Wasp, yeah.
Which might explain why he's not in it.
Right, exactly.
Which we'll see.
But I think I'm going to enjoy it. I don't think I'm going to love it, but I think I'm going to enjoy it. I hope I'm going to enjoy it.
Ever since the very first trailer, I wasn't excited for it. I don't know why. I think that I'm getting a little exhausted from it, but then the last trailer came on, I was like, oh shit, this is going to be pretty good. But since Deadpool, the trailer came out for that, I was like, this is the movie that I want to see.
Deadpool? Have you seen the new
2,
trailer?
I haven't seen the new trailer.
It does not.
Yes, it does.
I remember everybody raving about the second one.
It does.
The second, it's all about Deadpool trying to help this little kid. It's Iron Man 3 all over again.
Iron Man 3 had nothing to do with him helping a little kid. The little kid was in 2 scenes.
Everybody
no,
thinks
it wasn't.
Everybody
he was
thinks
in the
the kid is in the whole movie.
He's not.
It's so funny.
The whole fucking
TJ,
movie.
I recently rewatched it. Everybody thinks that.
I watch Iron Man 3 all the time.
Iron Man 3 is a terrible movie.
You're a terrible movie.
Everybody hates on it. It's so funny.
So bad. Deadpool 2, I think looks bad. Not bad, but I think it looks... I feel like it's lost what made Deadpool 1 so good, and obviously you're not going to see that in a lot of the trailer, but how it makes fun of itself, I don't know. I didn't see any of that in the trailer. I'm hoping that the trailer wasn't a good representation for me. You apparently love the trailer. The fact that it being about a little fat kid that Deadpool's
I didn't see the second. Yeah, I didn't see the. I didn't see the second trailer, but from what I've seen, it just looks like more Deadpool, which is cool. I liked it. The first one was good. I'm excited for Avengers: Infinity War, though. I think I'm setting my expectations. I'm really curious to whether or not we'll see some deaths. And I know everybody keeps thinking that
we all thought Civil War was gonna be a big thing, and
but
nothing happened in Civil War.
My big thing is that we still have the sequel to this, even though it's not officially the sequel anymore. The part 2, whatever it's going to be called, the next Avengers movie next year. It's not part 2. They took the part 2 away, and it's just a separate Avengers movie.
They haven't even named it yet.
Huh.
They said the name will be revealed after everybody's gotten a chance to see Infinity War.
And
I wonder why.
Because it's going to spoil the movie.
And they also said that the name is not going to live up to what people think it's going to be.
Interesting.
I saw that.
I'm preparing myself. They said this movie's going to be a full movie. It's not going to feel like a part 1. So
they said it's going to be the darkest
really
Marvel.
That's exciting.
I can't remember if they said the darkest Marvel movie or the darkest Avengers movie. I can't remember which one they said.
One of the very first things the Russo brothers said is that there are real consequences in this.
They've also said
people will die.
They've also said that every single movie leading up to this, all 10 years or 50, whatever, 18 movies that have a place in this movie. So not one movie is inconsequential.
Even the Mandarin.
Even the Mandarin. I'm hoping for some surprises. I want some fun, cool stuff. I want some, warping realities. I want some, callbacks.
When is Deadpool 2?
It's like 2 weeks after Avengers, I think.
Okay. So we have it on record. Bill, give
So
me
which one do you think
give
you
me the
like
Rotten
more?
Tomatoes score.
Deadpool. I know what the Rotten Tomatoes score is for Avengers because I looked.
So I
don't wanna
didn't
know
look, but I kept trying to look, but Fandango's been down. I haven't seen it,
So, Bill,
but I
don't
did
say
see
it.
the
I'm
article
not
that said,
gonna
like, it's up on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's already certified. Fuck, like, you can't trust it. You can't trust it.
so
That's what I hate
it's
about
too
the Marvel
early.
So
movies.
what do you want me to say?
It's not only that, but, I mean, they've even complained about how Rotten Tomatoes is biased against all Disney movies.
You need to calm down right now. What do you want? What are you asking? You want me to guess what the Rotten Tomato score for
Deadpool
2 will be, or do you think that it will? Do you want me to tell you if it will be higher or lower than Avengers?
It's definitely going to be lower than
I
Avengers.
think it's going to be higher than Avengers.
Interesting.
And
Are we putting pizza on this?
I think we could put a pizza on it, and I think it's going to get a 92%.
Oh my!
Wow.
This is the easiest.
And this is,
ladies and gentlemen.
And now this is
the
going to be
easiest bet I've ever
the
taken.
Sunday after it has really been released. Give it days to fluctuate.
No. The first day that it's released.
Is that part of
No,
Why? It can't be
No.
the no.
no, it has to be.
Initial reaction 92%. There, that's what I'm saying.
No, it's going to be whatever the Rotten Tomatoes score is when we sit down and record our next Invincible podcast.
Fine, 92.
Oh, interesting. Well, no,
92%.
it will have just come out then, I think.
What is the
No,
first
it-
Deadpool? What is the first Deadpool on Rotten Tomatoes?
Because it's going to come out on a Thursday night, Friday morning.
If we record here, if it comes out this day.
Yeah, no, that doesn't. It has to come out though. It has to come out first.
After it comes
so
out.
it would be
so
the
yeah,
one after that.
It'd be almost 2 weeks after it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
That's so. So the bet is that it's going to be higher than Avengers.
Yeah, just make that one. All right.
And I want. What is this? A small pie? All to ourselves, depending on who wins.
Yeah. That's
Two
fair. And
for
you
me
had-
though,
and you-
right?
and
Because I mean it's double
All
or
right, so
nothing, right?
Deadpool
Because you owe me one from before.
Deadpool 1 got an 83%. I think it's
Wow.
definitely going to be higher.
I don't
than
think it's
that.
going to be higher than Deadpool.
I do.
I think it's going to be a little bit lower. I think it's going to be like an 80.
I don't think it's going to be higher than Deadpool 1, but that's not the bet. The bet is higher than Avengers, Age of Ultron, right? Not Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. You're right.
What
you got it.
You're the one that
Infinity War.
Infinity War.
Infinity War.
Yes.
Okay, because you just said Avengers. I don't want you backing out of some shit. Yeah, I mean.
We're good. I'm confident.
All right, we're excited. The next episode that we're going to be recording for the Invincible podcast will be us talking about capes. So read up on capes, write in if you want to be a part of it. Let us know what you thought of it. And we also are going to have a new episode of the Oblivion Song podcast. No, we're going to be back with Invincible before Oblivion Song. So we'll see you in 2 weeks for the next episode of the Invincible podcast. Remember, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You can email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, Bill. This was fun. We might have ran pretty long. Hope you all enjoyed it. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. Thank you all for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you. Love you. Bye.
chip your tooth recently?
I chipped my tooth about 5 years ago at Applebee's on a fork, eating boneless wings. Yeah.
Do you not like boneless wings now because it brings back like painful memories?
No.
It's right
there?
No, it's on the other tooth. Other tooth. Follow me. Right.
Oh yeah.
No, right there. Oh, don't touch it.
Oh yeah.
Stop.